Stand up, New York Giant fans. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to OGR for becoming a member. He's here on the panel. I saw you became a member in the chat. I appreciate that. If you guys haven't done so, go on over to OGR, check him out. Authentic, who's also on the panel tonight. Looks like we lost somebody in the stream. Hopefully he comes back. But they both have YouTube channels, so check both of them out, please. We're going to go around the panel. Just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Waterfly? What's going on, Ryan? What's going on, Great Wuda? Who else we got in here? Gidio, Jay Dimes. Thank you guys for being here. Word, Jawad, Johnny Kelly, Mike Lopez, Kenny Smith, Rich, Jay Dimes, Nick the Wick. Thank you to everybody for being here. We got a big game coming up tomorrow, so I'm going to introduce everybody on the panel. We've got OGR. Of course, you guys know him. If you guys are New York Giant fans, he's got his own YouTube channel. OGR, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, my man. Looking forward to talking a little bit of Giants football. And let's get that W tomorrow.
We need it. We need it. You said it today 100%. In your video. Next up, we got David. He's a member of my channel, been with my channel for a long time. Appreciate you coming on, man. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. I think I'm the only one from Chicago, or maybe one of few, but I've been wearing stuff like this to make everyone mad around here.
Next up, we got Joe. Man, Joe, thanks for coming on to the stream, buddy. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for inviting me on. I've been dying to be on the show and talk Giants football for a long, long time.
Looking forward to it. We got Army Giants fan. Thanks for popping onto the stream, my man. You hear me?
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
What's going on, my man? Thanks for popping on, buddy.
It's a little laggy.
Oh, it's laggy on your end?
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. And next up, we got Nikki Sav. Nikki, diehard Giants fan. He's got the Cromartie and OBJ jersey in the background. What's going on, Nikki?
Doing great. I agree with Bad Dog. We're going to get a win tomorrow. It's guaranteed. We don't even need to talk. It's just we're just going to win.
Bad Dog pulled a Jim Fossil today. He guaranteed it. So hopefully we get it done. And next up,
no refunds.
And then finally, we got Authentic. Authentic's been with my channel for a long time. He's got his own NFC East podcast. Authentic, man, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I'm a little sore, man. I played 18 yesterday, so my back's kind of giving out on me today, but I'm hanging as long as I can.
Did you use a cart or did you walk all 18 holes?
Oh, I definitely didn't walk it. Yeah, I definitely did not walk it. We drove, and it was a longer course too, man. So and it was my first time back playing golf in like 5 years, man. I was stinking it up out there terribly.
Yeah, I haven't played golf in a couple of years myself, but I am so excited for the game tomorrow. We got a big game tomorrow, guys. Coming off a really disappointing loss. Well, not disappointing, if you're being fair. It was a team that going in, they had a great defense, very experienced team. But it always hurts to lose, and especially in the method that we did with Daniel Jones committing the turnovers. So we got to win this game. You know, OGR was talking about it. If we want to have any hope to have any relevancy down the second half of the stretch, when you got the Rams coming up, you got the Niners coming up, you got the Cowboys coming up, you got the Skins coming up. This is a game when we looked on the schedule before the year started, even though it's in Chicago, they've got a good defense, not trying to discount their football team. We're coming in as 6-point dogs for a reason. But this is a team, when you looked at the schedule when the year started, you said to yourself, this is a winnable game. This is a game, if we do things right, we could find a way to win this football game. And I'll say this, last week, for the most part, the Giants did things right. They didn't commit penalties. They stayed within the game. You think about it, we had a 7-point lead with about 5 minutes to go in the half or whatever it was. We were 8 yards away or 4 yards away from having the lead basically going into the fourth quarter. So we stuck with a really good football team. There were encouraging things there, but I want to get the panel's thoughts on the game tomorrow. What do you think going in, OGR? Do you think we got a good opportunity, and what do we got to do to win this football game?
So I obviously do think we have a good opportunity. I told us it's a must-win game. I'm not going to call it a must-win game unless I think we can actually win the game. So all that being said, though, a lot of us are probably going to agree. We want to establish the run, but for us to establish a run, I think we're going to have to show the threat of the air game and make them back off from the 8-9 men box. And I imagine they're going to do a little bit of what the Steelers can, and I think they can replicate what the Steelers did. So for me, it's don't turn the ball over, establish the passing game, keep the Bears, off balance, misdirection, draw plays, whatever, and then as far as the defense goes, I mean, Mitch Trubisky is, don't let him use his legs. Keep him contained in the pocket. Make him throw from the pocket. As far as that goes, I mean, don't let them run. I want Mitch Trubisky in third down and long all day. If we do that, we should come out with a W.
You brought up running. Another thing that the Giants were practicing this week, I'm going to get to those super chats in 1 second. Another thing that we were practicing this week, I saw it. Giants are making sure that they're ready for the scrambling ability of Mitch Trubisky, something you can't forget about, something that's killed the Giants in recent years. Trubisky can definitely take off and run with it. But, yeah, last week the Bears ran for about 150 yards. They did a good job in that aspect. Giants are going to have to do a better job at shutting down the run. Snell ran all over us in that second half. But I want to get to Nick. He says, what team does everyone hate the most in the NFC East? All right, let's go around the panel. OGR, we'll start with you, then we'll go to David and so on and so forth. Who do you hate the most?
Who do I hate the most? A couple years ago, it used to be the Cowboys, but now with the Eagle fans talking trash, it's got to be the Eagles, my friend.
I should have started it. Eagles for me. Some of the most heartbreaking losses for me as a New York Giants fan have been with the Eagles. David, what about you? Who do you hate the most?
Definitely the Eagles. The Cowboys always talk smack, but they have the entire country to hate them. The Eagles Eagles fans think everyone's going to their team and that they have the best team in the world, regardless of whatever the box score is.
All right. What about you, my man?
You know what? For me, it's definitely the Eagles as well. I go back a long time with the Giants, and I've always said that the Eagles, they scare me and I hate them, and they scare me because they always beat us, and I hate them because they always scare me. It's definitely the Eagles. Even when we're good, and they're not too good, it's either we'll maybe beat them by a little bit, or or they beat us. So there's basically they are to us like what we are to the Redskins.
We just find ways to lose games whenever we're playing.
Oh my God, in every fashion possible. It's heartbreaking. It's ridiculous.
Army Giants fan, what about you, my guy?
Mine is definitely the Cowboys. I hate them. Can't stand them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I hate the Cowboys just as much as the next guy, but the Eagles, the bad memories for me with the Cowboys was when I was a kid growing up in the mid '90s with that football team. Really, since then, I don't have that many bad memories with them. I know in the last couple of years they've been beating up on us, but we had a good stretch there beating the Cowboys, especially in the playoffs. The Eagles have given me so much, but I get it. There's a lot of bandwagon fans with the Cowboys. Nicky Sabb, what about you, my guy?
It is absolutely the Eagles. There was a time when it was the Cowboys, but my girlfriend and her whole family, they're all Cowboys fans, so I'm not allowed to hate them.
Break up with her.
It's really the Eagles, especially how the second game in each of the last two seasons we had a sizable lead on them and then just found a way to lose. It's just so frustrating. It was Eli's coming back game. He had 2 deep touchdowns to Darius Slayton. I was feeling good. All my friends at school were like, "There's no way you're going to win. You're going to find a way to lose," and unfortunately, they're right.
Yeah. And with that, Nick, what about you?
I'd say if you asked me during the Brian Westbrook era, I would have definitely agreed with the rest of y'all and said the Eagles. But today I'd say definitely the Cowboys. My brother's a Cowboys fan, so I got to hear about that every week. And he's also like not up on football, so he'll call me up and be like, "So how the Cowboys do?" And I'm like, "Bro, come on."
Yeah.
They went 8-8 again.
And the funny thing is, you're from the D.C. area, so I
so I got to deal with them Washington fans out here.
I was gonna say, I thought maybe you were gonna go with the football team, but didn't end up being the case. Somebody's saying bad feedback. I'm kind of hearing that on my end. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
You know what, guys? It could be.
Something
Hang on.
clicking.
It could be my headphones.
Maybe it's the headphones. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might have been. It sounds better now. So if there was bad feedback, it should. I'm hearing it again. Actually.
Oh no, I'm still hearing it. Yeah.
I'm hearing it again. Actually. Just want to get to John, man. John, thank you so much for love. He says, "Stand up, Chris. Giants stink, in my opinion. Barkley is not a run and tumble back. More of Sanders like back. What is the best way to utilize him?" It's a great question. He definitely doesn't stink, John. I'll tell you that right now. And I thought that there was some validity, and I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm still getting the back feed. I don't know where it's coming from though.
Are you guys hearing like a keyboard sound effect? I hear it clicking.
Yeah. But
All right, so I'll put my headphones on. It's on my headphones.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? In terms of Saquon Barkley, I kind of want to get your guys' take on what Tiki had to say. I think that there was some validity to the statement. He has struggled in terms of pass blocking, but the fact that he came out and said that he's not a 3-down back, I thought that was ridiculous.
That's absurd.
But here's the thing, man. If they don't run block, I don't like Simpson said, even though a lot of people said I shouldn't have quoted him. Simpson's a horrible human being. But like he said, if you can't block, you can't run. I don't care who the running back is back there behind the backfield. Maybe you got to get him out in space a little bit more in the passing game. But at the end of the day, if we can't run block, he ain't gonna get the job done. We have to get better with that offensive line. But OGR, man, give me your take on the whole Tiki Barber situation, and I guess how the Giants could better use Saquon Barkley this week.
So, to me, I mean, same old, same old. I mean, Saquon just needs to improve his blocking. I mean, we have a coach in Joe Judge who says fundamentals. You need your main back to block. And I mean, he just needs to get better. He can improve. I mean, Tiki improved later in his career. He had a big fumbling issue where he fumbled 9, 8, 9, 9 in consecutive years. And then all of a sudden, boom. Say Tom Coughlin comes here, adjusts the way he holds the ball, 3 points of contact, and then you have 5, 3, and 1 for the rest of his career. So I think Saquon can improve. Use Saquon better. I mean, it's just better run blocking in general. I just looked at guys were, lackadaisical. I remember one play where Hernandez was supposed to kick out and block Bud Dupree. It looked like he got 2 feet off the line. It was just like out of wind, couldn't get there. I don't know what the problem was. It's just the Giants got to block better, period. It's get a head on a hat and let's get this done.
That's it, man. And I thought Blue Collar came up with a really good idea to find out where the backfeed's coming from. I'm gonna mute one. I'm gonna mute one.
Mute everyone, right?
I'm gonna mute one guy at a time. And we'll try it from there. We'll mute OGR for a second. We'll leave him muted since he just talked. David, go ahead, my man. Give me your thoughts on it's not OGR because I'm still hearing it. But give me your thoughts on the on the whole Saquon Barkley situation. What do you think they could better do to utilize him? I guess in both the pass and run game. To me, I don't think there's much you can do unless you run block better. But what's your take on it?
I think it's just a situation where the offensive line just hasn't played together for a considerable amount of time. We have a backup right tackle, a swing tackle, and then we have a center that used to be our backup right tackle. So there's going to be obviously some growing pains in there, but I think as the season progresses, week in, week out, they get some better communication. They work around the kinks. Saquon Barkley is obviously a 3-down back. It's absurd to say that. I don't know why he would say something like that, but with time, I think we'll improve. And if we don't, then it's next man up, 100%.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely a 3-down back. We got to get the offensive line going. Next up, Joe, go ahead. And I think the backfeed's coming from yeah, it is. Definitely coming from
it's the ceiling fan. It's hitting the mic.
Maybe that is what it is. Maybe that is what it is. Hopefully,
and
fix
he was
it.
lagging too. That's probably not helping it.
Yeah,
no, the ceiling fan.
No, it was Army Giants fan. Hopefully, he comes back. But we're up to you, Joe. Go ahead, my man.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Barkley's clearly a 3-down back, and I understand. Listen, obviously, he's got to work on the pass protection. That's a big thing. You remember what he did as his rookie year? Was anyone saying at that
led the
time
league in scrimmage yards?
Was anyone saying at that time that he was not a 3-down back? It's ridiculous. The offensive line, yet again, is in flux. And here's one thing I disagree with, is that, and I'm a huge fan of Bobby Skinner, and I loved when you had him on, Chris.
Yeah.
Is that, he's saying, listen, for the long term, and I agree with thinking long term. I'm a patient person myself. Thinking long term that you're looking at Gates at center, and that's like the long term goal. You want to try to have him in center. But right now, we have a running back who's a premier player in his third year, and you've got a second-year quarterback. I think you got to put the best possible product O-line on the field right now to protect them. And I think that needs to be Gates. I'm saying give it maybe another game or two, but I think really, in my opinion, Gates needs to be at right tackle right now because he proved something last year. Small sample, but he proved something last year at right tackle. He should be there. Put Pulley, who sucks, but he's a center. He knows how to play center. Put him there. And when Pert is ready, you can bring Pert up at right tackle, and you can move Gates back over to center. Whatever. In my opinion, don't mess around with that right now. We did the Eric Flowers thing for 3 years, where we're like, we're going to keep this line together and let them grow together. They didn't grow; they stopped, or at least Flowers did, and it affected everything. Don't make that mistake now. But I do think tomorrow's game. I don't think the Bears defense is the caliber of the Steelers. I think they've got a lot of talent, but they don't have the winning pedigree that the Steelers have, and there's a huge difference there. Steelers know how to win. I think the Bears are a beatable team, and I think the Giants are ready. I think they can beat them. I really do.
I agree with you. And the last 2 years,
and I think they will.
In the last 2 years, we should have been. We beat them 2 years ago when they went 11-5, and last year, if Rosas makes his kicks, we win the game by 1 point. So I definitely think it's a game we could win. But Authentic, I'm going to get your take next, my man, on the whole, the whole Saquon Barkley situation.
Yeah, I mean, the Tiki comments, I think it's a little bit of tough love being that he was a New York Giant. But I think that the 3-down back thing is a little bit overhyped. I mean, they were saying that about Adrian Peterson because he couldn't receive the ball and catch on third downs too. So, I mean, all teams are using 2 backs now. Even when Todd Gurley went down, you saw C.J. Anderson come in and run the ball very effectively. So, I mean, I think you do need a second back on every team. The comment is probably a little bit overhyped if you ask me. But I mean, I think we're going to need to see Deion Lewis run the ball well against the Bears as well. Saquon's last outing against the Bears, he struggled in the whole first half. I think he only had like 20 yards or something. He ended up with 69 in the game or something, on 18 carries or, somewhere around that.
Yeah, it was mediocre.
Yeah, it was very mediocre. And I think you might see similar in this game against the Bears, too, where we're going to have to see Daniel Dimes step it up again and be able to throw the ball down the field and be able to beat this coverage.
I completely agree with you. I think Jones is going to have to stretch the coverage in this
Before
game.
you get to Nikki real quick, I have to say this about Authentic. Have you ever been in radio before? Because you have like the perfect voice for radio.
I mean, I'm an artist. I'm a hip hop artist. I rap, and I've heard that a lot. Every time, like at shows, people are like, "Yo, I mean, you're gonna end up doing radio, when you get older and blah 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 blah." So, figured COVID is the perfect time to take my opportunity and run with the wind.
Well, Authentic, I'm telling you right now, Authentic has I don't have enough. I don't get there enough, but he's got a great podcast. Every time I've popped in there, I'm always busy. Otherwise, I'd be in there every week. He has a great podcast. He does a great job. So everybody check out Authentic's podcast. Nikki Sav, man, go ahead, my man. Give me your thoughts on the whole Tiki Barber situation and your thoughts on, I guess, how we could try to improve the run game with Saquon Barkley.
Okay, so regarding the whole pass blocking thing, Saquon really is not that. Maybe he's average. There was the one play where he thought he was supposed to cover the C gap, and he goes back into the B, and Cameron Sutton comes rushing in, and he blows that block. That was one rep, which was a mental mistake, not a physical mistake, of his 10 pass blocking snaps. He had 10 pass blocking snaps in the whole game. If you go back and watch each one, he got anywhere between 7 or 9 of them done effectively. Probably about 8 of them he did effectively. There were 2 where he makes mistakes. And it's the ones that, they always say about an offensive lineman, if you're not saying his name, you're not talking about him, he's doing a good job. You're talking about Saquon because of that one bad play, but it's not an issue all the other times where he is executing his job responsibly.
That's so true.
So
yeah,
and also I feel like all of a sudden, 3 down back means pass protection. I always thought it meant you can catch the ball on 3rd down as a running back, not just the pass protection. And Saquon doesn't do that. Saquon does that better than almost any back, maybe other than Christian McCaffrey in the whole league. Yeah, he had his drop, but the one drop on the opening drive that Saquon had, I thought Daniel Jones actually threw the ball a little too hard. So I didn't think Saquon had a bad game at all, and I thought Daniel Jones played great.
Here's the thing, Nikki, and everybody in here. When you're the face of the team and the team plays poorly, they're gonna look for the face of the team. They're gonna blame the face of the team, and Saquon Barkley, him and Daniel Jones are the guys that people are gonna look to blame, and whether it's fair or unfair. I agree with you. A lot of it was unfair criticism. That block really stood out. During the game. Yeah. You saw Daniel Jones get wrecked, but you're right. Overall, he didn't have a fighting chance. He was getting killed in the backfield every time he touched the ball. He didn't even have a running start. So, to me, the offensive line was by far the biggest culprit, not even close. And when you saw the pressure stats after the game, Daniel Jones was under pressure for 22 of his 48 dropbacks. The next closest was 14. The offensive line was as bad as they were the worst offensive line in football week 1. Has to get a lot better,
especially that right side of the line too.
Yeah.
No, I think it was actually the blocking scheme, not the individual players' efforts. I thought our players were confused, and like Nick Gates trying to pull and underneath and block Dupree from the left. Like you can't do that to a first-year starting center when he's played tackle his whole life. Yeah. I think it was more coaching than players, honestly.
I kind of agree with you. The whole game I'm watching, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? They got Nick Gates coming over to try to help out Dupree. They're letting Dupree go free. I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Hey guys, if Tiki were out there in that game, and he was a great all around back, he did everything perfectly well, especially like the last few years of his career under Coughlin. If Tiki were playing that game against the Steelers last week, he would have got blown up too. He would have got blown up too.
It doesn't matter who was the running back. It didn't matter.
And he was a good blocker. He did everything well. He's one of the best running backs all around I've seen in my life.
I mean, Bud Dupree was coming through untouched on so many plays, and I mean this. I got some notes from our last podcast, and it was the least rushing yards by anybody over 15 attempts since 1970. Yeah. I mean, you can't blame that on a running back. I mean, we could probably put one of us back there. If there's decent blocking, we're going to get a yard or two, maybe. You know what I mean? He didn't have any holes.
I don't know about that one.
I think I could get a yard. Man. I think I had a yard behind the 2008 Giants offensive line. I think
there was no holes. There was no holes for him to run through. No. He was getting blown up all day in the backfield. And Saquon usually can make the first guy miss. I was a little surprised about that. He wasn't making the first guy miss. I remember the rookie season, the first guy didn't tackle Saquon.
It was like 2 guys.
He was just getting tired of getting blown up after a half a second every single time he got the ball.
Yeah.
And
There were
we
two
got to
guys in the
stop just
backfield. There wasn't
grabbing the
one.
ball and handing it to Saquon. We got to be creative. We can't just be giving and just pitching. Let's get some pitches. Let's get him some screens. We got to be creative. We can't just be one-dimensional, just trying to run him through the middle.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
screen was the only thing that he actually saw some success on.
That was his only
and
big
the crazy
play.
part
When
is
you get
Pittsburgh was
Saquon in
able to
space,
do it without.
you
They
see
would put 8 in the
magic
box.
happen.
You know, Pittsburgh would put 8 in the box, right? But they wouldn't send them. They were doing that with really 4 down linemen. You know, so now you're challenging Daniel to throw it against pretty much nickel coverage. I mean, it was just absurd. It was cover 2 all day, and our one touchdown, you saw where they exploited that. It was right down the middle, and that's how you beat a cover 2.
I want to talk a lot more about Daniel Jones. I want to get to a couple more of these super chats, but I want to talk a lot more about Daniel Jones' performance week 1 because it was kind of split by a lot of New York Giants fans. So I want to talk more about it. Deception says, should we consider using Dexter Lawrence in a fridge package and have him run the ball up the middle when we are close to the end zone? Listen, I love the creativity, and people have talked about using Jabril Peppers with the offense also. But here's the thing I'm going to say. I don't care if you get Lawrence in there in a fridge package. I don't care if you get – by the way, they had to line up an I formation at the goal line when they recovered that fumble. I don't know what they were doing there. But I don't care what you do. You can bring in Peppers for end arounds. It doesn't matter. If you can't block, it does not matter what you do in terms of creativity. So it all comes down to the offensive line. But hey, why not? Why not at the 1 yard line? You bring in Dexter Lawrence. He's certainly big enough, and he looks like he could, based on the way he was able to recover from that the screen pass on defense. You would think he's got enough athletic ability maybe to punch it in from the 1 yard line. You know, but
that guy's an athlete. He's intelligent, and I can see him doing that 100%.
Nimble, big dude.
If they stop him, gravity can't stop him, so he's gonna get in there regardless.
I'd love to see Dex get fed the ball. He's a nimble, big dude, and I bet he could do it. I bet he can get like that. If you've got the ball a half yard from the end zone, I bet he could punch it through. I really do.
Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
Why not? It would be a lot of fun. I love it.
I'd like to see that. However, I'm gonna have to say no because I got Saquon on every single one of my fantasy teams. But
I traded Zeke for Saquon yesterday.
I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh man,
that great game against the Bucks. Was it 2 seasons ago now? There was one play on the goal line where Saquon lined up like 5 yards behind Eli Manning, and they handed it to him, and he just full head of steam, like looked like he just pounded it into the end, and you were not stopping it. And we haven't seen that at all. And I don't know if that's like him mentally, if it's he thinks what he has to do on this play, he has to make the first guy miss, then do it. But we never see Saquon line up 5 yards deep.
It's true.
And on the 1 yard line and just run straight and into the pile. We need to see more of that.
That's what I said in my video, and some people took offense to it. Listen, Saquon Barkley is my favorite player on the football team. I love Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
But that's the one thing I hear from Giants fans all the time, and I think it is I guess a reasonable criticism. Not to say he can't do it. I know he can do it. The guy's built like he's a monster. But you don't see him go, get those short yardage carries a lot where it's 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, and he pushes the pile. I know that's not his game, and that's not every running back's game, but I think he's able to do that. I think he's definitely equipped to be able to do that. I want to see that more. I want to see him use more on the goal line in I formation and things like that.
Yeah. Hey, but Nicky, I took Dexter Lawrence in the 15th round, so I need those touchdowns.
You're in an IDP
I've got him
league?
in 3 leagues.
Teach him how to take snaps, man, and just have him quarterback sneak all day.
I want to get to Blue Scale. He says, watch Trubisky play on Sunday. He actually looked the best I've seen him. Yeah, I think he's starting to gel. It'll be a lot tougher game on top of our issues. Listen, Blue Scale, Mitch Trubisky was actually, people may forget, 2 years ago he was a pretty good quarterback. When we played him, Trubisky was hurt in 2018, but he threw to a 95 QB rating that year. They won 11-5. He's not completely trash. I think the reason that Trubisky gets killed is because first off, they traded up to get him from 3 to 2, and then you had Mahomes go after him and Watson. So 2 of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the league and the best quarterback in the league went after he was selected. So I think that's why he gets ragged on. Trubisky is not as bad, I feel like, as some people make out to be. I think he is a quarterback that can make some plays. And this Nagy offense is a little dangerous. What's your guys' thoughts overall on Trubisky? Are you worried about him at all in this football game?
I hope he plays his most Trubisky game he's ever Trubisky'd.
Don't Trubisky it.
I will say about Trubisky, he has a heart of a lion and just doesn't give up. Because if it was anyone else and he took that much criticism being in this city, oh my goodness, he would have been out of here probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I just want to make sure I don't lose John's because it's about to leave. He says, fly. Oh, I'm not saying that, John. He's a big Eagles fan. F-E-F. I am not a delusional Eagle fan, but Eagles and Giants, in my opinion, are the teams of the NFC, so y'all should hate the Cowboys more. Hey, listen, man. I hate both you guys.
2-14 no-namey, so I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about Trubisky. Just want to make sure I don't lose Roldy. What up, Chris? Are these subscribers you have on with you? I hate the Eagles. I hate Philadelphia fans. I hate everything about them punks. Roldy, yes. I got two. Well, Authentic, he's been a subscriber with me since I was in my apartment. He's been with me forever. OGR, but he's also a YouTuber. He's got his own podcast. Definitely check him out. He does a great job. And OGR, of course, I think you probably know him, Roldy. He's a Giants YouTuber. Everybody else is a subscriber. David, Nikki, and Army Giants fan, and Joe is Joe, right? I don't see your name underneath Joe, right?
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're all subscribers of mine, but the other two are YouTubers. But thank you so much, Flev. I appreciate it, and I got a little more time to get to the rest. So let's talk a little bit more about Mitch Trubisky. We'll start with OGR. What's your take on Trubisky in this game? What are you worried about most, and do you think people discount him a little more than they should?
I think you brought up the point because Watson and Mahomes were taken in that draft. A lot of people, the expectations for Mitch are sky high. I think if Mitch was on if he was drafted any other year, let's say he was taken in the draft with, I don't know, just not a very good QB draft. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Yep. You might not be talking about Mitch in the same breath. You might say, oh, he's an average quarterback in this league. I think he is. Do I think he can be a little bit better? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's consistency under Matt Nagy, and he just hasn't been consistent, maybe because of injuries and whatnot. He also hasn't been very healthy too. So for me, Mitch is an average quarterback, has those opportunities to play well, be very good. I think you saw him shine because it was the Lions, and the Lions defense stinks. I mean, every Detroit Lions fans will tell you we have the 32nd ranked defense. So
36. You got it right the first time.
36 right. But there's a couple of college defenses better.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with it. And to me, if you get like anything, if you get to the quarterback, you'll make mistakes, and Mitch is prone to it. So
yeah, and part of me thinks that, like, keep in mind in that game last week, and I'm not trying to discount Trubisky. I think like you said, I think he's an average starting quarterback. But they had like I think it was about a 3-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter. You're trying to tell me that the Lions probably didn't come out in the prevent, give Trubisky more opportunities than they should have. They probably took the gas off the pedal. We're probably playing in a safer zone type defense. I didn't get to watch it, but that would be what I would assume based on the fact that the guy couldn't move the ball the first 3 quarters. So I think the Giants got to be super aggressive in this game. I think they will be. That's the nature of this defense. Don't let up. I don't care if you got a 30-point lead. Don't let up. Don't give them an opportunity to get back in the football game. They've got some underrated weapons on this team too, by the way. Their wide receivers are good. The Bears have very good wide receivers on this football team. And Three Cohen.
Very good.
And Cohen's a weapon out of the backfield to catch some balls. So one thing that I noticed this week, guys, and then I want to make sure I get this before it leaves. The tight end position, I thought we did a pretty good job. I didn't call out Ebron's name much at all in that game. I think maybe he had a catch or two.
There's that one drag route against Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, but overall, you didn't hear it much. So that would be encouraging. So maybe Downs did a good job.
I think the tight ends for the Pittsburgh Steelers are better than the current billion tight ends the Chicago Bears have. I mean, Jimmy Graham's at the end of his career here. So
yeah, Jimmy Graham's like, and glad to see that Army Giants fan got his audio fixed. But yeah, Jimmy Graham is he's done at this point in time. They did draft Cole Kmet from Notre Dame in the second round, but I don't think they use him much at all. But yeah, that's another thing I guess we're gonna want to look at in this game is the tight end position. Their wide receivers are good, though, but I think it's going to come down to getting pressure on Mitch. We've seen it the last 2 years. If you get pressure on Mitch, he's prone to making mistakes. So we got to get pressure on him, and I think he'll make mistakes, unlike Ben. John, man, thanks for the love. He says, I never said Barkley stinks. He is amazing. The Giants stink, but if the Giants lose to the Bears, how worried are y'all about the season ending in the first month? I'll start with that. Listen, I'm worried. I'll be the first to say it. I'm never going to quit on my team. The Giants – we went to the Super Bowl in 2007 after we lost our first 2 games. But if we're being real, that team had a lot more talent. That team went to the playoffs the 2 years prior. They had Eli Manning, which is in his 4th year in the league. Michael Strahan, you go down the list. We had a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. So I'm not going to compare this team to that team. When you look at the schedule we got coming up, Yeah, if we lose this game, you've got the Niners, the defending NFC champions. You've got the Rams, who've been to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You got the Cowboys, who we haven't beaten in 100 years. So, yeah, I am worried if we don't win this game. This is, to me, if we want to be able to have, I guess, competitive football midway through the season, I think we've got to find a way to win this football game. What's your take on that? We'll start with Army Giants fan. What's your take on that?
Definitely agree with you. You basically hit every point that I was gonna say. So, but yeah, that is it. One of the things that I feel like should happen is containing Trubisky. I feel like as long as we do that, we won't start 0-2, and the season won't end in the first month. Because then the team will go in 1-1, the morale will be up, and hopefully they could carry that on into the next week. And then, yeah.
You never know. I mean, football is a game of momentum. We win one game, it could spiral into another. I mean, the 49ers didn't look great week 1. I didn't think they were going to lose against the Cardinals at home. They've got some injuries. Kittle, from last I checked, was, I think, questionable this week. May not play.
He's out. He's out
this week. So who knows? I mean, let's win this game, and then we worry about the rest of the schedule. But this is a game we absolutely need to win. But what about you, Authentic? Do you think there's a must-win game this week, Authentic?
I definitely think it's a must-win game. We know 0-2 in New York. We start off 0-2 a lot, especially in the past 15 years.
We're the 0-2 champs.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And the problem with 0-2 is that if you do fall to 0-2, then you really got like a must-win week 3 to like even just salvage the season a bit and maybe even get a couple of wins. And I just think playoffs are out the door when you 0-2. I know you've talked on your channel about it being a 10% chance, and we got the extra slot this year in the playoffs. But 0-2 is just going to spell more of Giants' doom, what we've been seeing the past couple years. The Super Bowl year, we beat the Washington Redskins week 3 on the goal line on 4th down.
We were that close to going 0-3.
That was something from up above.
Miraculous.
That was very miraculous. So I'm very appreciative for those Super Bowls because you remove those Super Bowls out of the equation, and we've been a really bad team for about 15 years.
Really bad. We were pretty competitive there from like 05 to 11 or 12, but since then, we've been as bad as it gets. Even the team that made the playoffs, we were narrowly beating bad teams the entire year. We played a soft schedule. This team has been a complete disaster, which is why they had to knock it down. And I'm sure
I think that the Chicago Bears are a good team to go into week 2 and try to get the W. I mean, they're poor Pittsburgh Steelers. They got a good pass rush, but it's nothing like Pittsburgh. So I think we can handle them, and we should. The way that we played on Monday night against Pittsburgh, if we can play similar, get rid of all those mistakes that we had and not capitalizing on the opportunities like the early fumble or muff punt, the late fumble by Snell that Juju Smith-Schuster ended up getting, we got to capitalize on those things and make those plays. No whiff tackles. There was a tackle there from Jabril Peppers on a sweep play where I was just like, what's going on? He didn't even touch him, And you're talking about maybe a 3-yard run turns into like a 15-yard run. So I mean, I think Chicago is set up for us to go in there and win that game. So I'm hoping. I'm trying to be optimistic. Even on my schedule when I picked the games this year, I didn't even want to, but I picked the Giants at 10-6 just to kind of lift my spirits a little bit. But it's very unrealistic. But I'm just hoping that the Giants could come out here, get this win, so we could just get on that train of rolling and getting victories, because that's been the problem for the past 4 or 5 years. It's just like getting that streak of wins. When you start off 0-2, it's just so hard to climb out of that, especially in this division.
Yeah, we definitely got to win this game, get to 1-1. And that's going to bring me to Andrew Thomas. Zach, man, thanks for the love. I appreciate it. Mac was praising Andrew Thomas. Listen, Zach, and I'm sure we'll go around the panel, talk about Andrew Thomas for a second. Guy I was really excited about when they drafted him. If you watch my channel, you guys know that I dream about hog mollies at night. And I was really excited when we did get Andrew Thomas. I think we needed a left tackle. I thought he did a great job considering the defense he was going up against, considering the help he was getting from the rest of the offensive line. I don't think he could have asked for a much better week from Andrew Thomas. Ojar, what was your thoughts on Thomas's debut start?
Sorry if you hit a little bit of a kid screaming right now. He wants, he doesn't want to go to bed right now. So I apologize for that if you do hear it. But Andrew Thomas, he played like he did in college. A stalwart over there. And if he continues doing that against the competition he was going up to, I mean, hats off. I mean, really not much more to say about Andrew Thomas. It's just watch back and, make sure that he's the 4th overall pick that we thought he could be. So far, so good.
I just want to make sure I don't lose the super chat, and we're going to talk more about Thomas. Roldy, thank you so much. He says, guys, I know the offensive line is a major part in this too, but Barkley's lack of pass protection has dated back to his rookie season. That's a problem that needs to be resolved. Barkley shouldn't get no pass at all. We'll talk more about that in a second. We've talked about Barkley a bit, Roldy, but we'll definitely get back to it, talking about the pass protection. I want to talk a little bit more about Andrew Thomas. But, yeah, so does anybody have anything critical to say about Andrew Thomas based off of his Week 1 performance? I think we all agree he did a pretty good job, all things considered.
He did. I know this. I remember one play specifically. He did a really good job. Was when him and Will Hernandez, they switched on the stunt that the Steelers tried, and he was just like that. So that was good coaching. In terms of something critical, I just feel like his hand placement could be a bit better. If you watch the tape closely, you can see that he kind of got beat because his hands was a little out of whack. But other than that, I love that guy.
No,
I'm a huge Andrew Thomas. He's going to be a good player for us for 15 years, and that's what you want when you take a tackle that early. I'm very confident in him. But to go back to Roldy's point, listen, I'm not giving him a pass. I mean, I said in my video this week, it's been a problem with Saquon Barkley the last 2 years. Specifically, last year, like I said, I chalked it up to the high ankle sprain. I'm not going to make excuses for him this year, but it is 1 week. You were going up against a great defense. You had no help from your offensive line. I'm going to give it a few more weeks. Hopefully, Saquon Barkley gets better at it. I have confidence that he will. But if he doesn't, I'm not going to give him a pass. He's the number 2 overall pick. We expect him to be good. He's definitely big enough to be able to block. And I think he will get better. But, yeah, I think it's at least a moderate concern right now with his pass blocking. At times he does struggle. I think that's a fair criticism.
Chris, can I just say something?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's worry about opening running lanes for Saquon first. And then I'm saying for myself, that's my concern. And then I'll worry about the pass blocking, to be honest with you. I think he's competent enough to do some pass blocking, but the guy's a running back, and he's awesome at it in terms of running. Let's open up those lanes first. And then, when you've got 2 guys in the backfield pretty much in every play when you're running, that's tough. And I understand the pass blocking is something separate, but he's a running back. Let's open up some lanes. He's awesome at his job when you give him some lanes or even just an inch, and he'll take a mile. Let's do that. And that's my concern. Open up the pass. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. That will take care of so much, in terms of, him being able to, I think pass block later on. Like they'll have to respect the run. But let's open up those lanes. That's my main thing with Saquon.
I completely agree. I mean, at the end of the day, if Saquon Barkley's running for 130 yards, and he will, believe me, if we block properly, nobody's going to be talking about his pass blocking. They're going to be like, okay, he ran for 130 yards. We were able to throw the ball because we became more unpredictable. Let's get this offensive line to where it needs to be. I think it's going to be a few more weeks. I said that going into the year. I kind of compared it to the 2018 season. I think in the first 5-6 weeks, it's going to take some time to get acclimated. You got 3 new guys on this offensive line. But I do think by hopefully a little bit before the halfway point, you'll start to see this offensive line get going. I think you're going to see a more balanced offensive attack.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, man. Until such time this offensive line produces moderately decent run and pass blocking, we're all going to complain about everybody on the team because we're not going to get anything going consistently.
Yeah, he proved everything he could do his rookie year. He proved it all. It's there.
I was going to say that too. I think Saquon has proven his rookie year. No one said anything about pass blocking his rookie year or his second year.
Love the guy.
I think Saquon is a complete back, but he's on a bad team. I mean, the New York Giants are not a good football team, especially in the past year. We're hoping for better in the future here. But Saquon's a great back. I mean, just like CMC, if you think Saquon Barkley it needs improvement on his blocking, then the same thing goes for CMC. I feel like they're both more like a scattier
1A, 1B
with bigger bodies, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point you bring up. If CMC was here, people would be complaining about the same thing. And CMC ain't running the way that the way he does here with the way that offensive line blocked week 1. So it is what it is, man.
The vision in my mind is like Saquon getting tackled in the backfield. It seemed like every run. I mean, he never had any open lanes, and when he did, he capitalized on them. But it was only on a screenplay, unfortunately.
You have to get him in the open field, and he produces magic. That's when we see Saquon in the open field or to the outside, he produces magic. Yeah. We shouldn't be running exclusively to that right side. That's our weakest point in that offensive line.
That is a great point.
We should be running for our tackle and Will Hernandez. We saw what he did when he ran behind Will Hernandez his rookie year. What are we doing running to the right side?
That's a great point.
Run it left in the first half, Tanner. I don't know what was going on.
Nick, I want to get Nicky more involved in this conversation. Nicky, did you realize we only run to the left? I couldn't believe the stat after the game. We only ran to the left side one time the entire game. What is that about?
You know, it's kind of ridiculous, especially because Andrew Thomas was our best offensive lineman the entire night. And I don't know if that's because he was the only one that wasn't pulling the whole time. But, I mean, you invest the 36th overall pick in the left guard, and you invest the 4th overall pick in the left tackle. And you got to use them. They weren't using them. You're only running to Cameron Fleming's side, and he was literally getting turned around the entire game. And if you saw Andrew Thomas had some amazing reps one-on-one against Bud Dupree. I mean, it was really encouraging. And
has Jared even seen what Andrew Thomas looks like as a lead blocker? Come on.
Why not try running behind him too? He was the only one holding up the pass protection the whole time.
Yeah, they were running behind the career swing tackle. It was crazy. The only thing I could think of was that maybe they wanted to. Sometimes you'll run towards the opposing defense's best defensive end. Take him out of pass rushing or even to tire him out. It's the only thing I could think of that they're running towards the TJ Watt side. But other than that, I couldn't figure out why they wouldn't run behind your road grader in Hernandez.
Yeah,
and your number 4 pick.
And the other thing that I was discouraged by,
the potential player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Let me just get this real quick before I lose it. John, man, thanks so much for love. Stand up, Giants fans. Let's get this dub. That's right, John, man. Thank you so much for popping in. Just want to read one more. Cruz on. He says, OGR looks like a fake John Travolta. LOL. Just kidding. And I'll get to the next one next. But the other thing that I was discouraged by in the run game, in this game, that I really thought we were going to see more, the fullback wasn't used at all. I mean, I can't think of more than maybe 1 or 2 carries the entire game where we were lined up in I formation. I want to see more of that. Like you guys were saying, like Authentic was saying, that one thing that he was kind of annoyed with was that he didn't see Saquon making anybody miss. But here's what I'll say. If he would have made one guy miss, he was still going to lose 2 yards because there were 3 guys there because nobody was blocking. And I want to see more fullback this game for sure. Last year, we only used it 11% of the time. I expected to see more of that week 1. Hopefully, we see that more this week.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of – I'd love to see, if he ever becomes available, Tariq Cohen on the Giants. I'd like to see more – I love what the 49ers run. I love their offense. I love 2, 3-headed, hydra running back. I'd love to see it with Saquon Barkley and say like a Tariq Cohen style type of running back as well. And, really, just get some supreme athletes back there. Saquon's awesome. I mean, I love the guy. And he's a great, captain for the team. He's a great player. And I'd love to see them just running like 2 really talented, scary-ass running backs.
Look at the Browns. They got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's 2 nuts. That's 2 number 1 running backs.
That's
They
like 2
should
Barkleys.
explode. Yeah. I'd love to see that.
They don't even miss a
Joe,
step
man.
either.
In the
When one
offseason,
goes
I thought
out,
that the
it's just like
Giants-
the other one.
Exactly.
I was going to say, in the offseason, I thought that the Giants should have went after Chris Thompson when the Redskins released him, because he's that kind of back that's kind of like Cohen from the Bears, that you could throw him in on a 3rd down. He might get you 20 on a screen, 15 on a screen, but he might have already seen his better years. But
you know who's out there? Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah.
I've got him on my watch list for my 3 fantasy leagues.
That's a great point you brought up about Thompson. He's a lot like Cohen. Thompson ended up with the Jaguars, I think, but he used to kill us with Washington. So that's a good point you bring up there. A good receiving back. I kind of wanted a thumper. I talked about that all offseason. I feel like we don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that big back. We haven't had that big back really since Jacobs. Yeah. So I kind of wanted that added to this backfield.
Those were some of the best years, man. In Brandon Jacobs' years, my girlfriend, that was her favorite player because he's just such a bruiser, just like throwing people off him. I remember
Brandon Jacobs and my Bradshaw duo, love it.
Oh, it was fantastic, man. Do y'all remember when he ran over Landry from the Redskins?
Yes.
I sure do. That was awesome. How about Bradshaw? Bradshaw's one of my favorite Giants of all time. I always loved that spin spike he would do when he scored a touchdown.
Oh, yes.
That dude
that was my guy.
Heart, man. Ran angry. Bradshaw's with Bavaro and Carl Banks, like my 3 favorite Giants of all time. I love Bradshaw. And BJ's right up there, too.
Touchdown celebration, that reminded me of David Wilson, his backflips every time.
Woo, David Wilson.
That was short-lived, man.
You know what? I think if he didn't get injured, I don't know, Coughlin seemed to just, be sour on him. David Wilson was a weapon, in the making. I love David Wilson. I know we had the fumbles, but if that guy stayed healthy, I don't know if Tom Coughlin ever would have found a way to use him properly, but yeah, I guarantee Sean Payton would have. But David Wilson was that guy. I've never seen anyone as fast on the field in game as David Wilson in my life. That guy was Fantastic.
big
I
speed.
loved him.
He fumbled his first carry ever.
Did.
I think that
Yeah.
that hurt him right out the
Whatever.
gate. I
I'd
remember
throw his
that.
ass
Might have
in the
been every
doghouse.
time, too.
I love David
Tom
Wilson.
Coughlin threw him right to the bench after that. I remember watching that game. He was pissed.
Right
Yeah.
to the bench.
Andrew Thomas, man, thank you so much for loving. Great job, by the way, week 1. He says Mac will have one hit on me and no sacks on me, guaranteed. I'll take that right now. We'll go if you hold him sackless this week, Andrew Thomas, we'll sign up for that right now. One of the best edge rushers the league has to offer. And Zeke Anderson, thanks for love. He says Saquon, we have a serious Will Hernandez problem. That's a very good point you bring up. Will Hernandez was a guy that I thought struggled a bit last year. I thought he was going to take a bigger step forward than he did. He was kind of disappointing last year. We'll see. It's only 1 week. But not just Hernandez. It was the entire offensive line. But, yeah, Will Hernandez is a guy that we're expecting to play better with Andrew Thomas on the left side. Maybe a little bit of it had to do with the fact that you got a center there that's never played. And that kind of hurt the guards.
Colombo's got to get them on 2-a-days at this point.
Yeah, and we also got to be fair. Like I said earlier, you got 3 new guys on that line. They've never played together. I always say it, man, you could put 5 Pro Bowlers out there. If they've never played together, you have to learn to play together as a unit. And that's why I'm trying to be realistic and say it's probably going to take 5 weeks, 6 weeks for this offensive line really to hit their stride. So hopefully we see that this year. But, yeah, if Hernandez does not improve by the end of this year or last year, I agree. I think that's something that you got to be concerned with, because he's a guy that we're really banking on.
Do you think they should go with a center in next year's draft?
Not first round. There's no one that's first round worthy.
Yeah, not in the first, but if Gates doesn't improve, I think you got to think long and hard of taking a center in the second round, or in free agency. But yes, hopefully Gates improves.
No bad.
But
Creed Humphrey, Oklahoma. You know that's where he's
Bad Dog loves Creed Humphrey of Oklahoma.
Hey, Biotic would be looking real nice right now.
Yep.
How did he play week 1, Biotic?
I don't know, but
Oh, he didn't
Go
play
ahead,
much.
No.
Okay.
yeah. But it would be nice to have
Came
him
in because
develop.
someone's shoe came off.
He'd be starting for the Giants.
Somebody got the game
Force
on in
these
the
are
background.
released.
Y'all hearing that?
Yeah, we got backfeed. I don't know who it is. Somebody's got something on.
Like a television. or
Oh,
something.
it's
Chris,
my
I
wife's
think that
phone.
we should all mute ourselves while someone else is talking. Maybe that'll get rid of the feedback. I don't know how it's working out.
Okay.
Like maybe you should just call people or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me do
Yeah.
that. Let me do that. I'll get to the super chat and then we'll I'll go
Don't
to
mute
Joe.
me. I always have something interesting to say.
Let me go. Blue Collie says, "What's up, Dane? I think the Giants win, Washington wins, Dallas wins, and Philly loses. What do you see as the NFC East record after week 2? And Authentic, who's your top 3 hip hop artists?" All right, I'm going to give you my record first, then we're going to get to Authentic. We'll unmute him first. In terms of my records with the NFC East after this week, I've got the Giants winning narrowly. I got them winning by a point, so I got them at 1-1. I've actually got the Cowboys narrowly beating Atlanta. I think it's a game that could go either way, but I got the Cowboys getting to 1-1. I've got the Eagles dropping to 0-2. I got the Rams beating them, and I've got Washington losing to Arizona. So at the end of this week, I've got 3 teams at 1-1 and the Eagles at 0-2. That's my standings at the end of the week. But we're going to pull up Authentic. We'll get his standings at the end of the week, and then we'll get his top 3 favorite hip hop artists. But
Gotcha.
yeah, let me hear your standings at the end of the week in the NFC East.
Okay, so I made a bold prediction at the beginning of the year. I think the Cowboys are going to start off 0-4. They got a tough schedule for them first 4 games. I think the only winnable game is probably against the Browns, which you could look at as a possible win. But the Browns kind of look pretty good with that 2-headed running back system they got going on. So I definitely got the Cowboys losing this week coming up. Redskins fluke week 1 win. My co-host on my show, Tim, he called 7 sacks. They got 8 sacks.
Wow.
Which is crazy to me. But I think they'll go into week 2 and come back down to earth, probably get a loss there. Philadelphia plays the Rams. They got to prove to me that they're a better team. I know they're banged up, but they got to prove to me they're a better team. No Alshon Jeffries. They're going to get Miles Sanders back. They're going to get Lane Johnson back, I believe.
Yeah, he's playing.
Should help them out, and it'll give me a better gauge on them as far as how the season will go here. We'll probably see the more like full throttle Philadelphia Eagles, but I still think they take a loss there and go to 0-2 as well. And I got to bank on my New York Giants to get a win against the Bears here. I mean, I just think Mitchell Trubisky's, if you take away his touchdowns, it was a really average day. He was 3 of 11 on 3rd down. Really got it clicking in the 3rd and 4th quarter when Detroit went to a prevent. They had their middle linebacker shadowing him, but they never really sent any blitz. I think that the Giants are going to be able to take care of that game. So that's my standings for the end of the week.
So you got the Giants and the Skins at first at 1-1. You got the Cowboys and Eagles, the 2 favorites coming in, starting at 0-2.
Yeah.
I like it. And to answer Blue Collar's question, give me your 3 favorite rappers of all time.
Three. He said artist, so I'm gonna go artist.
Oh, I
not
thought he
just
said rappers. My hip
I had
hop.
a couple
He said hip
pre-programmed
hop
in my head.
Hip hop
Artist, right?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah,
so,
my mistake. My mistake.
Number one, I'm gonna go Jay Dilla from Slum Village, producer. Not a lot of people know about him. The late great, passed away a few years back. Awesome catalog, worked with everybody. Number two, for his lyrical premise, I'm gonna go Royce the 5'9", another name that many people might not have heard of, but he was part of the Bad Meets Evil series with Eminem. And third, an artist I actually worked with just a year and a half ago was J. Cole when he was in town for his tour. And I'd say he's probably my top three. Take that third spot.
There you go. He knows his stuff, man. Good stuff. Good job, man. And we're gonna mute you. We'll get to somebody else. But Dana, good job, man. Let me get the Cruzon. Cruzon's the man. He says, no, pass protecting is just as important as running through lanes. I couldn't disagree more. Disagree more with what, Cruzon? I don't know what he means by that. We'll pull up OGR. And I'll get to the next one. I don't know what you mean by that, Cruz. I mean, I think pass blocking is probably more important than run blocking, or at least equally as important. I don't think anybody was trying to hint at that. I think overall we just need to be better at blocking. The pass blocking, OGR, let's talk a bit about that this week. Even though they gave up a lot of pressures, I thought overall, all things considered, when you factor in the Giants couldn't run, that the Steelers knew that we had to pass. I actually thought the offensive line did a pretty decent job in that aspect with the pass blocking.
I concur with that. I mean, I really can't think of like an egregious play. I mean, I know Daniel Jones got sacked, but it was more or less on blitzes, and they actually had to use more blitzes to generate a pass rush. I mean, they were right around the quarterback, don't get me wrong, but, Daniel Jones stood tall in the pocket and delivered the ball. Going back to the whole, I mean, obviously the Saquon thing was going to be the biggest thing tonight, and I just want to talk about that real quick. A lot of people bring up the Saquon thing because, one, I think a lot of people are these, you don't take, Saquon was picked too high, we shouldn't have picked him at 2. I think it's a lot of those people that are looking for it to have a criticism say, see, look, he should have never been picked at 2. I think it's a lot of those people saying that. But also, Tiki, let's face it, Tiki the player, great player. Tiki the analyst, not so good. Yeah. Tiki, when do you hear about Tiki? You never hear about Tiki. So that's my thing. Like, you hear about Tiki. He's not wrong. He's not wrong in what he said about Saquon's criticism, but even a broke clock is right twice a day. So to me, Tiki is also trying to put his name out there and let people know, hey, I'm still here. And I'm sorry, Tiki, it falls on deaf ears to me.
You hear about Tiki. The only time you hear about Tiki is when he bashes the Giants.
Exactly.
Since he's been an analyst. But you're right. He really has had not the most successful career outside of football when it came to that. And it started with bashing Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. And that didn't work out very well. And hopefully Saquon Barkley takes this as motivation. That's the way I took it. Hopefully Barkley listens to this and says, listen, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. I'm going to go out there and rush for 150 yards on Sunday. And hopefully that's what we see tomorrow. Next one we got up is JB12 says, want to see more screens and HB tosses. I mean, I agree with that. The only productive play we had with Barkley really was a screen pass. And when they're going to be – I mean, I think it's all dependent on the game, on what the defense is doing. But when the Steelers were, coming with the heat as much as they were, I thought that the Giants should have probably used more screen passes than what they did. And we didn't really use a lot of tosses. I know that Barkley got to the outside 1 or 2 times, but I didn't really see many tosses in that football game. So I'd like to see more of that. But again, if we can't block, it ain't going to matter. So it comes down to the offensive line and winning up at the point of attack. That's where football games are won. Anything to add to that, OGR? Oh, you're muted. My bad.
No, it's all right, man. I can control it manually. It's not a big deal. But no, really not. I mean, you've touched on it all. I mean, we've kind of like beaten this topic into the ground, but obviously it's a popular topic. So obviously at the end of the day, we're driven by the fans. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much more to really talk about. I mean, for me, what I want to see overall with the Giants is just improvement week to week. It doesn't have to be wholesale improvement because we have a long way to go. But when you have a coach that preaches fundamentals, I think, asking a little bit of improvement week to week. I want to see the Giants come out with a little bit better of a game plan. Not the fact that I'm criticizing their Steelers game plan. It's just, just work on it week to week. I mean, there's not really much to say.
No, I agree with you. One thing I'm gonna bring up. We're gonna bring on Joe here. The one thing I'm gonna bring up with the game plan is that I think they need to work. That I want to see them do this week, and they didn't do it enough last week. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they couldn't block and give Jones enough time. But if they're going to improve this running game, to help out Saquon Barkley, you're going to have to stretch that field. Otherwise, people are going to stack that box. There's going to be 9 guys up there. They're going to do whatever they can. We have to see more shots down the field to stretch the defense. Last week, we only really saw 1, maybe 2 throws that were over 25 yards in the air. And that's what this offense is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an offense that takes deep shots. And you saw what happened when we were able to do it, slating it on a big 41-yard touchdown catch. So I want to see more of that, I think. And early on, I want to see them – I want to make them respect the deep passing game. And I think that'll help Saquon Barkley in the running game.
I agree with it, Chris. But remember, here's the thing, too, is that didn't Jones last week, didn't he lead the league in terms of being, like, pressured? And
that's the thing. Yeah, I agree.
So it's like it's hard to have those – long developing plays when you're, and I thought he did very well overall considering how often he was getting pressure. But it's hard to have those, long plays develop when you've got you've got the defense in your grill. So I'd like to see some RPOs.
We didn't see any RPOs the entire game.
No. And I'm not crapping on the Bears. They've got a good defense, and I'm not dumping on Trubisky. He's we see that he's inconsistent, but he's a young quarterback too, so I don't want to be unfair. But, he could come out and have a good game like he had in the second half against the Lions last week. But, I think the Giants are prepared to deal with him. And I think if the Giants just play up to their abilities, which is not Steelers-like, but, can still it's got I think the Giants at this point have a pretty decent ceiling. I do think they're a better all-around team than the Bears, to be honest. I really do. I think their offense can be more consistent than the Bears. And I do think that they should do pretty well. So, with the offensive line, and something you said about Hernandez before too, how about running behind Hernandez?
That's what he wants to do. I mean, he's always been known to be a better run blocker.
Exactly. And Hernandez has got to deal with, he's got Andrew Thomas, who I love, and I'm glad he's there. He's got Gates at center, who's never played center before, so we're still on offensive line in flux, but let's run. Hopefully they'll run behind the strength of this OL, which right now seems to be Andrew Thomas and Hernandez. Let's do that, and let's run some RPOs. And I think this team's going to really surprise. But in terms of the division, I think the Cowboys are going to stomp the Falcons. I think they're probably a bad taste in the mouth. They're by far, I think, the most talented team in the division.
I agree.
I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to crash and burn in the playoffs. But I think they're going to stomp the Falcons. I think the Eagles are playing it. The Eagles, I'll tell you, have so much respect because they're a tough team, they're a gritty team, and they're a veteran team, but they're really banged up. And I think they'll lose to the Rams as well, so it'll be 0-2. And who are the Redskins playing? The Cardinals?
Cardinals, yeah.
The Cardinals they're an up-and-coming team.
Cardinals look really good week 1. Cardinals look really good.
I love the way they're building team. I love the skills players they have, whether it's Murray, Drake. Now they've got DeAndre Hopkins, holy cow. And they've got Isaiah Simmons, who in the spring, I was going back and forth, Chris, between you and Fist Vegas. Originally, I wanted Andrew Thomas. When we lost the Young Bowl, Chase Young Bowl, I was like, all right, Andrew Thomas. I'm like, I don't know. Isaiah Simmons looks pretty damn good. I want Isaiah Simmons. And then by 2 weeks before draft day, I'm like, all right. I was back with Chris. I'm like, Andrew Thomas. Let's get the left tackle and not worry about it for 10 years. So. But I love the team that Arizona's building. I think they'll take care of the Redskins. But I think you're right. I think we're going to win. I think the Cowboys are going to win, and I think we'll be 1-1. The Redskins will be 1-1, and the other two teams will be, I guess, 0-2 or 1-1. But it's going to be the NFC East is going to be pretty competitive for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's running away with it because of the schedules that we play. You look at the divisions we're playing. We're playing great football teams. I think the Falcons keep that game close just because I think the Cowboys secondary is horrible. And the Falcons have really good weapons on the outside. So I do think Matt Ryan's going to be able to move the ball. I think they'll put up a lot of points. But I don't see them stopping the Cowboys at all. So I think it'll be a high-scoring game. And I think the Cowboys win. But I think it'll be like a 31-28 type game. I think the Cowboys win. But I do think the Falcons put up points.
Yeah. And I guess another thing, too, is that, with the Giants, it's, just be patient with you guys. It's like I think we have a competent staff here now. And we do have more talent. You look at Martinez alone. God, when was the last time we had a competent, middle linebacker or inside linebacker? God, it feels with veteran presence. God, it means so much. It really does. He looked great. I'd still like to see Connolly paired with him.
Yeah, of course.
But still, it's like just give the team a little time. Everyone's going through the whole coronavirus thing, but you look at the Steelers, they've been around for a long time. The Giants are a different position. They're building new faces, young guys are counting on. let's give it a little time, guys. A little time.
I completely agree. People don't want to hear it, and we're going to get to David now. People don't want to hear that, though, but I think you bring up great points. I'm sick of being patient, too. I'm sick of waiting year in and year out, but you got to be fair in your evaluation and look at the team. You got a 38-year-old head coach with new system, a completely young team. You got to be fair. And can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. David, unmute yourself. There you go. What's up, David?
I got it.
Let me get to the next donation. Andrew says, would you want a middle linebacker? All right, let's talk about the draft next year, David. Andrew Thomas says, would you want a middle linebacker, edge, wide receiver, or DB in next year's draft class? I'll give my answer, but I'm going to let you answer that first, David. What do you view as the primary need for the New York Giants in next year's draft, at least as of now?
I didn't even listen to anything else you said after you said edge.
That's what you want. Okay.
100% need.
So edge. Yeah. You're saying edge. Listen.
We saw what someone like Chase Young can do to a shit team like the Washington No-Namies, so we need an edge rusher like them. Oh, the two people that seem to rotate towards me are either Micah Parsons, I know he's not edge, but he's pretty good, and Greg Rousseau.
Greg Rousseau is supposed to be the best edge in this year's class, and I tend to agree with you right now. Somebody asked me today first off, it depends. Right now, that's the answer, but we don't know how this team's going to look by week 17. You don't know if O'Shane Ximines is suddenly going to have 12 sacks, if Lorenzo Carter's going to take off.
True.
You don't know. But right now, I agree with you. I think edge right now is our primary need. And as much as Giants fans don't want to hate it, the thing that I said is the second primary need right now. Who the hell's our second? Who the hell's our second corner right now? We got Corey Ballantyne out there. He's a 6th-round pick from a D3 school. So
we have Corey Ballantyne in the simple fact that he's physically out there. I don't know if he's mentally out there, but he was getting toasted the entire time.
Yeah, so I think you got to be fair, even though you may not want to hear it as Giants fans, because we never seem to draft cornerbacks well. We need another corner, and it's not like Bradbury's young. He's 27, 28. He's only on a 3-year deal. I expect them to draft a corner. I don't know about in the first round, but pretty early in next year's draft, unless they spend in free agency. But they definitely have to add another corner in next year's draft class, in my opinion. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'd put edge at 1. I'd probably put corner at 2, linebacker maybe at 3, a coverage linebacker, and then wide receiver possibly in center, maybe center before wide receiver. But I'd put those as our 5 primary needs right now.
2 things. I think, what Janoris Jenkins said, pretty idiotic thing to do and then not apologize after it. But if he was there at CB2 or at CB1, wherever we put him, I think that would have been a way different ball game if just Ballantyne wasn't out there. If we had an actual cornerback at CB2.
Or DeAndre Baker, if he didn't do what he did.
Or DeAndre Baker, look at that.
Yeah, if he
it's like we drafted someone in the first round to do that for us, but
yeah.
I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, so I know it's been disappointing. Eli Apple was a major disappointment as well, but I still think that's a need.
Don't even say his name.
Don't say his name. He was the wrong Eli. JB, man, thanks for love. He says, if the line struggles again, I need Shane and Parrott. I don't think you're getting Shane.
Way too drastic.
Yeah, where's Shane going to play? I don't see it because you're not pulling Zeitler. You're not pulling Hernandez. Those guys are guys we're going to depend on this year. The center position, I guess it's possible, but I think you put Pullian before you put a guy like Lemuin who's never played center before. So Shane, I don't see. Parrott, I could see sooner than later. I don't think you'll see him week 3, but I said going into the year, I was expecting like week 10, 11, 12 to see Parrott. If this right tackle Fleming continues to struggle, you might see him by like week 5, week 6.
That's what I thought.
And I personally don't want to see that. I'd like for Fleming to get the job done and be able to ease him in. I don't want to throw him out there before he's ready. If he's ready, by all means, put him out there. But I don't want to force him out there. But they may have to, the way that Fleming played week 1.
If he's competent by week 5, throw him out there. Iron sharpens iron, and he should be getting those real snaps, not our swing right tackle. That's not going to be on the team next year.
He can't be worse than Fleming. I mean, Fleming
he can't be.
Yeah, Fleming was horrible week 1. So I tend to agree with you. I think he's going to be out there sooner than I initially anticipated. I'm going to bring Nick.
Andrew Thomas couldn't be any possibly worse than the previous left tackle. I won't even say his name. Matt Parrott can't possibly worse than Cam Fleming.
Yeah,
and if he is, then we can be looking into the Penei Sewell sweepstakes.
That's a good point. Could you imagine if we got Penei Sewell and not? I know people may not want to hear that either, taking a tackle 2 years in a row. But let's say that Parrott's not the guy. We find out this year that he's not going to be a part of the future, and you get Sewell, who's supposed to be like much better than Andrew Thomas is. Like, he had Heisman votes last year, and you get him and
He's gonna be
Thomas on both
crazy.
ends of that offensive line for the next 10, 15 years. I wouldn't be against it. I'm a huge offensive line guy, but hopefully Parrott's the guy. Hopefully we don't got to worry about that. But we're going to bring Nikki on next, man. Dave, good job, buddy. And we're going to bring Nikki on. Let me just answer this question. Zach says, Barkley. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I didn't. Zach says, Barkley stated in his interview about the Tiki comment that he's going to take it as a challenge, not a criticism. As well he should, Zach. I mean, I think that's what great athletes do. I think that's what Barkley's going to do. He's a no-nonsense guy. I expect him to use it as motivation. And Roldy says, authentic out here looking like 1994 Grant Hill. I see you, homie. There you go. Authentic. I'll unmute Authentic for a second for that. So he said, I can see Grant Hill a little bit.
That's funny.
I can see Grant Hill.
You know a basketball player out here a lot? It'd be Danny Green.
I do see Danny Green. He's got the similar haircut. I do see Danny Green.
That's all. I think that's all it is for real is the haircut. A little fade. They want to call me Danny Green. A little fade, little light skin.
All right, let's get Nikki on the channel because I haven't heard from him in a bit. Nikki, what's going on, my man? What's going on? You got to unmute yourself, Nikki. And JB says, D-Law and Leo was awesome stopping the run and the rush. We haven't talked enough about the defense, Nikki. We've talked almost exclusively about the offense. JB brings up the defense. I think it's a good time to transition into that. What did you think of the defense's overall performance last week? What were you encouraged by? What were you discouraged by overall?
So I was encouraged by the fact that Blake Martinez he had 11 tackles for loss or no gain, which was most by any linebacker week 1. I was encouraged that James Bradbury was worth every single penny. I don't care that he had Juju scored a touchdown on him. That wasn't his fault. Corey Ballantyne and Darian Holmes have to learn to not run into each other when receivers are running pick plays. But Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence looked great. Dalvin Thompson looked great. Dexter Lawrence was like the 11th highest graded D tackle. Dalvin Tomlinson was like 13th, and Leo was like 32nd. So our defensive line is great. Lorenzo Carter was I believe, 8th or 9th highest graded edge rusher in week 1. Even though he didn't get a sack, he was getting pressure. Yeah. He was getting pressure all night on Alejandro Villanueva. And Oshane Ximines was nowhere to be found. That's why also I wouldn't want to draft Greg Rousseau for 2 reasons. One, because I want to give Oshane a 3rd year, like we're giving Lorenzo Carter a 3rd year. And Greg Rousseau also, all of his sacks were not because of his pass rushing moves. He's a very raw prospect, kind of like he's not a Myles Garrett where he's clean. He knows he has an arsenal of moves. He's a very much one-trick pony. So I'm not high on Greg Rousseau. I'm on the cornerback train. I want Patrick Surtain from Alabama because I don't think we'll be picking high enough to pick a lot of these guys. I think we'll be high enough to pick Surtain. I'm a huge Bama fan. I was that 1% of Giants players, and in the back of my mind, I wanted Jerry Jeudy. I'm a huge Bama fan. Jerry Jeudy is my lock screen on my phone.
Wow, you wanted Jeudy? You wanted Jeudy with our pick?
No, I didn't. I wanted Thomas. I didn't want Simmons, and Isaiah Simmons graded horribly week 1. I don't know if
23. I've never seen a grade that low.
Yeah, because they were using him like a Blake Martinez. They weren't using him like a Jarrell Peppers like you're supposed to. He's a coverage linebacker. He's not coming downhill. He works backwards. So
didn't look good in coverage on that play.
No.
Simmons will be fun.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Nikki. What were you saying about Jeudy?
No, I wanted Jeudy. You know why I wanted Jeudy? I wanted Jeudy A because Roll Tide, but B because his routes just reminded me so much of Odell, and I was like the girlfriend in the breakup that like all he had to think about even a year after the relationship was I want him and I just wanted Odell, and Jerry Jeudy to me was the second coming of Odell, so that's why I wanted Jeudy.
Hey, listen, I would have loved Jeudy. I if we could have gotten him in the second round. But we needed that tackle. I'm glad that we did it. But we might be taking Chase this year. A lot of people talk about him. It's possible, depending on how the other players on our team do. But I think personally, we got to focus on the defense.
Chris, we're not getting Jamar Chase. We're not going to be picking high enough. Look into Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. He was a semifinalist for the Biletnikoff Award last year. Dude was better than Tyler Johnson, and Tyler Johnson was at one point thought to be a first-round pick. I don't know how we fell to the 5th.
That's the receiver from Minnesota, right?
Huh?
Tyler Johnson's the guy from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman was his teammate. He was better than Tyler Johnson last year. He he's phenomenal. He's great route runner. He's like 6'2", 6'3", ridiculous hands. Like I want Rashad Bateman this year, or Patrick Surtain, or Micah Parsons. Those are my three.
All right. I'm a Parsons guy myself. I like Parsons, and I like Surtain. I would definitely love a cornerback. But go ahead, Joe. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Nikki, I love Judy as well, and I think Denver they've got a nice wide receiver core over there now with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. But if the Giants took Judy at 4, I would have flipped my lid. Not taking either a left tackle or in an offensive line draft or Simmons, I would have blown my stack. And I'm a patient Giants fan, and that's nothing against Judy. I love the guy, but I would have blown my stack if the Giants took him at number 4, or even traded back and took him.
We couldn't do it.
Andrew
Not.
Thomas was the pick.
We didn't have the luxury to do it. It's something that Reese would have done. Reese took Evan Engram when we needed a tackle. We needed a pass rusher.
You know, we took Hakeem Nicks at like 22 in 2009 or something like that, and that was the time to take like a wide receiver like that. And thank God it was Nicks. Yeah, he was perfect for our
I think next year it's possible. That's when you start to think about it. I still think the next year after that is when I would start thinking first round draft pick for a wide receiver, because I still think we're gonna have too many holes.
Chris, we need some deep math. If we do 4 years, say we draft top 10 again this year, and 4th year in a row of not a stud defensive lineman taken with your first pick, not defensive line, but a stud defensive player, whether it's lineman or linebacker. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. I agree.
Cornerstone. We need a cornerstone.
Got to go defense. Got to go defense. I completely agree with you. I got to get to my man, Army Giants fan. Haven't heard from him in a bit. Let me pull him up. And I'm going to talk, get Roldies real quick. And what's going on there, Bad Dog? We're going to be on his channel tomorrow. Go over there, check him out. Army Giants fan, good, you unmuted yourself. Roldy says, you guys notice we don't do well when we draft the cornerback in the first round. We were talking about that earlier. I'll get your take on it. What is your thoughts on potentially taking a cornerback in this year's draft in the first round? And the one thing I'm going to say about that, because I hear that all the time from people, and I get it. We have not hit on a first-round cornerback really since I've been watching the team. I mean, Prince Amukamara was pretty good, but overall, the guys haven't panned out. They haven't been worthy of the draft selections where we took them. But here's what I'll say. You can't base your next pick off of past year's failures. You can't do it. So that's what I'll say to that. You know, if he's the best player there and it fills a need, you got to do it. I think it will be a primary need in next year's class. So that's why I continue to say it's possible we take a corner. But let me get your thoughts, Army Giants fan, on the possibility of taking a corner in the first round.
I agree with it 100%, to be honest. Like you said, James Bradbury, he's not that young. Corey Ballantyne, like Dave said, he's there. His mind isn't. But at the same time, like we need to start it now so we could get that, like C.J. Henderson. Like you seen what he did in Jacksonville. If we could get that kind of corner in the first round, then we should be good. So that's my take on it. I fully support taking the corner in the first round.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, especially in a defense like this, you need the corner play. We're going to blitz a ton. If Patrick Graham's going to be back here next year, you're going to be asking your guys to be on an island and play man coverage. We need strong corner play, and that's the future of the NFL. I've talked about this in my prior videos. Look at these great defenses. What do they build around? They build around coverage. The Ravens had great coverage last year. The Bills, the Patriots, they have the best secondaries in the league, and that's the future of the NFL. The quarterback, the way that they combat the pass rush is they get the ball out within a second and a half. Well, exactly. You have to be able to cover. So as much as Giant fans may not want to hear it, don't be shocked if they take a corner in the first round next year.
And on top of that, Chris, if the coverage is spot on, then that should generate more pass rushing ability too. So more sacks. That's what most Giants fans complain about is the sacks. Well, if we get our coverage A1, then boom, the sacks come and go. So
look at the Seattle Seahawks. They did pretty well without premium edge rushers with the Legion of Boom. Not that we're even close to that, but
and the Patriots too, with Stephon Gilmore up there locking up half the field.
Tre'Davious White with the Bills. So we'll see, but I do think it's possible. That's all I'll say. But I definitely think we need an edge rusher as well. We need at least two high impact players on this defense at our holes, whether it's the linebacker, whether it's the corner, whether it's the edge. We need two premium players, maybe one in free agency, one in the draft next year. Maybe McKinney becomes that player when he comes back. But we definitely need two premium players on this defense still before we're going to take that next step.
Agreed.
What did you think of the overall defense from the game that you watched week 1 against the Steelers? Didn't get a chance to ask you that.
I was impressed, to be honest. The defense, they played really fast when they weren't running into each other, like they said. That's just like the small things they have to work on. The D line, I was really impressed with Sexy Dexy and Leo down there, and Lorenzo Carter as well. Is glad that we're seeing the jump that we expected last year starting to come on this year. So I was really impressed with that. James Bradbury, he did a good job, especially on the strip. And then Darnay Holmes, he did relatively good covering Juju in the slot for the most part. A couple of times he got away, but I was still impressed with him overall.
Yeah, and he had that nice play on the first drive where he almost got the sack off the edge, Darnay Holmes. And Bradbury, I keep pointing out one of the best plays of the game was on the first drive coming out of the half on the third down pass down the right sideline. Bradbury was able to block that ball without committing a pass interference. I thought Bradbury played relatively well. Both free agents. Martinez had a hell of a game. And yeah, Sexy Dexy to me is going to be the best player in this year's defense. I love Dexter Lawrence. And I'm gonna tell you what, on draft night, I was not happy with the pick. I thought he was going to be a good player, but I wanted an edge, if I'm being honest with you. When they drafted a D tackle, I'm like, what are they doing? But Dexter Lawrence, he's going to be a great football player. I think Dave hit a home run with that pick. He missed with Baker, but I think he did a good job with the Dexter pick.
Definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I'm a big Dexter Lawrence fan. JB says, play Penny more, blitz more. Slayton is a stud. Listen, I've been talking about the fullback all offseason. I want to see more fullback play. He's not a traditional blocker at that position. He's more of a receiving fullback. But I think we need somebody out there for Saquon. I think you need that lead blocker. So, yes, blitz more. I mean, I think we're going to blitz a ton this year. You look at Patrick Graham last year. He blitzed 41% of the time on third down. I expect the Giants to continue to do that. It's a matter of getting you in third and down situations. But I thought the Giants blitzed a fair amount opening that against the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, they definitely did. At some points in time, I did think it was a little predictable where you could see that that they were going to blitz. But other than that, they really got home. So the blitzing was effective. If you've seen, or like you mentioned with Darnay Holmes with Big Ben on that one breakup, it worked.
Yeah, there was one play in particular where it really didn't work. I think it was, I can't remember if it was their first touchdown or their second touchdown, where we just completely sent the house. I think it was like a 3rd and 8, and we completely sent the house. And it was
left.
I think it was Juju. Edom.
Yep, they left him alone in coverage against Juju.
Yeah, and he just completely
got
exposed him. So, but that's what I said at the beginning of the year before the season started. I said this is going to be the type of defense. It's going to be, they're either going to create a big play opportunity, they're going to create turnovers, they're going to get sacks, or they're going to get burnt for big plays. And that was one of the instances where they got cooked. So that just comes with the territory when you have a defense this aggressive. But I'm going to bring OGR back on, man, and I'll probably bring all you guys back together before the end of the show. But great job, my man. OGR, what's going on, my man?
Not too much. What's going on?
What's going on? Let's get a couple of questions from the chat. Calvin says, "Hey guys, which college coach will be picked up by an NFL team in the next year or two? Wishing you luck against the Bears tomorrow."
Oh, I'll answer that question easy because I love this dude, PJ Fleck. You heard it here first.
A lot of people were talking about him last year. I remember his name.
Love him,
PJ Fleck, and I know that Bad Dog loves the Oklahoma coach. But, yeah, PJ Fleck, there you go. Yadam is a Yadam's not going to be a long-term starter here. I think he was a guy that they brought in here for desperation, Jay Dimes, and they thought that he fit the scheme. He was good in man coverage. I don't think he's a long-term. Yeah, Lincoln Riley. That's the
I'm surprised Nicky. He was high in the Minnesota prospect there, the Bates, the wide receiver. I'm surprised Nicky didn't comment on the PJ Fleck.
Maybe he was thinking. I know he's muted. Think of it in the back of his head. What's going on, Cole? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. OGR, the white tiki with an actual take, though.
Oh, you're saying like?
Well, I think
I have a better take than tiki, I guess. Anyways, I noticed a lot of people were surprised by the baldness, and a lot of people were, because I haven't been on your channel since I think I shaved. So, yeah, people were surprised by that. I'm getting a lot of Walter Whites in the comment section.
I know. I
enjoy it. And the wife likes it.
All right, quick story. When I was like, well, I've got more.
Well, you got the moss. So
when I was like 16 or 17, I don't know why I did this. I was bored, and I tried cutting my own hair. And I thought I had the buzzer on like a 1 or a 2, and it was on a 0. So I went like halfway up my head, and it was bald, and I had to shave my whole head. I don't look good bald. So I hope I don't. I'm going to have gray hairs. I hope I don't lose my hair because I do not look good bald. You and Bad Dog look much better without the most than I do. It's not a good look for me. Let's see. Y'all don't really think the Giants beating the Bears, right? Devon said, I think they are. And I think everybody on this panel thinks that we got to. I think we're going to get a win tomorrow. I really do. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. The best people are bold, OGR. Remember that, Bad Dog says. No one looks good bald at first. Yeah, well, Christopher, like I said, it will not. It's not my optimal look. That's for damn sure. But OGR, anything you want to add about the game tomorrow?
Honestly, man, it's just get a W. I'll be calling the game on my channel, but obviously you'll have it on with Bad Dog. But yeah, I'm just excited for the game, man, and I just want to get the W. We could sit here and nitpick and put all the stats and put all the analytics out there, but at the end of the day, get a hat on a hat, somebody block somebody. Let's get Saquon going and let's win this game.
110%. I'm going to open up a few guys on the panel so we'll get to talk a little bit more. David, you go ahead and unmute yourself. JB says shotgun run after the punt recovery was a bad call. JB, that was the first thing I said in my post-game video. When I was recapping the game, I hated that call. And I don't know what they were thinking there, but I say it every year. The Giants have been doing that for years when they're on the goal line. They come out in the gun. I expect them to do something different this week. I want to see I formation. I want to see them try to pound the ball up the middle when you're on the 1 to 2 yard line. Makes no sense on first down to run out of shotgun. No sense whatsoever. Even if you're in the I formation, at least you're presenting to the defense that there's a strong possibility we're going to run. I think it gives you a better possibility for a play action rollout with Daniel Jones, try to hit the tight end. To me, you're giving away your offense when you do something like that. I hated that decision. I thought it was one of the worst play calls in the game week 1 when they came out in the shotgun on first and goal at the 2 yard line.
I want to see them this Sunday go out there and hit someone, have some purpose when we're run blocking, get them up the field and maul some people.
100%.
And run to the left, for God's sake. Use our good tackles and our good linemen.
Yeah. There's not much more to add to that. I mean, that's what we've been hammering home the whole show.
David, I just want to say, Zeitler not a good lineman to you?
No, he is, but yeah.
But a lot of it I think is Gates too. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Run behind Hernandez and Thomas, but I mean, Zeitler's a good guy, man. Don't be afraid to. I mean, you still can run the right side a little bit.
But Fleming's not
too. But I'm just
Fleming's
saying, use our 4th overall. I don't know if you guys have seen Thomas out in the open field, but he goes crazy when he's out there.
P.S. We haven't heard from Authentic in a while, so I'd like to hear from him as well.
Yeah, let's get Authentic back on. Is that a Saquon hat, by the way, David?
Oh, there we go. I think I lagged out for a second.
Oh, okay. Is that a Saquon hat, David?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool hat.
When he released his limited merchandise or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it looked familiar. What's going on, Authentic?
I'm chilling, man. As far as keys to this victory, man, this defense is definitely gonna have to step up. I like what I saw in week 1, man. This isn't, this offensive line. Let me get back to offensive line real quick. Okay, this offensive line looks pretty bad, right? But it doesn't look as bad as the 2018 or 2019 offensive line when it was like you had Flowers out there on an island. You had Solder out here last year looking crazy. I feel a little bit more confident in this offensive line. But, you got the COVID situation. We had no preseason games. Week 1 was pretty much the first preseason game. That's how you get the jitters off. I think we're going to see a better, much more gelled offensive line in this next game. And we'll see some better runs from Saquon. But I think one of the key points is Evan Engram. I mean, if you look at Bud's, all his highlights, they're all on Evan Engram. Whiffing blocks and, getting up, trying to block somebody else. He's got to be a key in this pass protection when he's in, because I saw a lot of routes where the Giants only sent 2-3 wide receivers out on the touchdown to Slayton. That was one. It was only 3 defensive backs and 3 wide receivers on that play. So I need to see a way better game out of Evan Engram. I know you guys were down on him. I was saying in the chat on you and Bad Dog's live stream, I was saying Evan Engram ended the year very well. He had that game against Dallas. Granted, Dallas was sitting some people, I think, but he had 100-plus yards. He had 10-plus catches and a touchdown. Evan Engram is very capable, just like Mitchell Trubisky is very capable. So I think this will be a very close game. Defensively, we got to come out there and just put some helmets on some people, like David was saying. I want to see it more aggressive. And I'm hoping to see Jabril Peppers maybe take one to the house in the special teams game as well.
Great job bringing up Evan Engram there. That's a guy we didn't talk about at all tonight. And he is a huge part of this team if we're going to have any success. I mean, the tight end is a huge part of this offense, but the guy can't block. And you saw it week 1, and he was worse than anybody in terms of blocking. Didn't talk enough about him. He had that critical offensive pass interference call. He dropped a critical pass. Evan Engram had one of his worst starts in his entire career. And if he's going to play like that, we're not going to win games. He's probably our best weapon in the passing games from a mismatch standpoint at the tight end position. He couldn't create any opportunities at that spot. He's got to be much better this week. And if he's not, expect to see Caden Smith get a more expanded role.
And I'm not too mad at that. I mean, Caden Smith can ball out. He's more the traditional tight end. He kind of reminds me of like a Jason Witten, pretty slow. You're like, how's he getting open? But he does get open, you know. And Evan Engram, I mean, I think that the rushing was getting in the way of what he was really trying to do. Once he got beat like 2 and 3 times, if you look at the one play near the goal line early in that game where Daniel Jones was kind of getting some pressure and he kind of just tried to just loft it to Evan Engram, which looked like a routine, easy throw that anybody could make. But like Evan Engram doesn't have his feet under himself. He looked like he just couldn't get to the ball right. Just enough pressure to kind of make Daniel throw a little bit of an off throw. But I thought that should have been a touchdown. He's just got to come out, be ready to play. That's like what I would see from Evan Engram in a preseason game, week 1 preseason.
And it kind of was like a preseason game week 1, and hopefully he plays much better this week. There's not much more to add to it. Great point with Evan Engram. Let me see what we got here. He has tools. What's going on, Afghanistan? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. He says he had tools and potential, but that don't mean jack if they don't consistently get exactly Afghanistan. That's what we've been talking about Engram since he's been a New York Giant, how he's going to break out. And I think that's how people are kind of with Lorenzo Carter too. They're kind of, it's a put up or shut up here. And it's the same thing with Evan Engram. Yeah, he shows you spurts, but overall, mainly due to injuries and his blocking ability, he's been a major disappointment. And if he doesn't get it done this year, he's not going to be here much longer because, like you said, you look at the great New York Giant teams. When did we have this supreme athlete at tight end? We didn't. We want a guy that could block and catch a ball, get open, have good rapport with your quarterback, but you don't need this Jimmy Graham type tight end if the guy can't block and if the guy's dropping balls.
And when he's playing bad, he just puts more pressure on the wide receivers. I mean, thank God for Darius Slayton because this wide receiver core would look like straight garbage without him. Golden Tate just can't get on the field. I mean, last year was the physical or whatever. He couldn't pass or whatever, like the drug test he failed or whatever. This year it's the injury. I feel like I've been like hoping for good wide receivers for the New York Giants since we signed Brandon Marshall. And it's just like, I don't expect too much out of Sterling Shepard. He's a solid number 2, number 3 kind of wide receiver. But without Golden Tate on the field and then no running game on top of that, the Giants can look really, really, really bad. So we need to kind of get this passing game clicking because as well as the run game can open up the pass, I believe in it vice versa. The passing can open up the run. If you start, we only had one pass over 20 yards, and that was the touchdown to Darius Slayton. We need more plays down the field. We got to throw the ball long because then there'll be a threat to those safeties. They won't have all these people in the box, and Saquon will probably have a little bit more success running the ball.
I completely agree with you. That's to me the biggest.
I agree. Pass opening up the run.
That's the biggest key to this game this week is you have to be able to. And Nick, you can unmute yourself too. That's the biggest key to me this week is you have to be able to stretch the defense because that is what's going to help Saquon Barkley. If you become too predictable, they're going to do exactly what the Steelers did. They're going to stack the box, and until such time they have to respect our deep passing game, it's just not going to work. And Darius Slayton, let's talk about him for a bit. That guy,
top 10 receiver this year. I'm giving you a bad dog guarantee.
A bad dog guarantee. That guy is legit, man. That guy's legit. And I'm going to give OGR credit. OGR bought, I think he bought the world. He's wearing it right now.
Hey.
Oh, really?
I think he bought the world's first Darius Slayton jersey. I go to the Giant Jet game with him last year. I think it was like week 10, OGR, week 11. And he shows up with a Darius Slayton jersey. I'm like, he's got a Darius Slayton jersey? And he said, yeah, you watch. He's going to be one of the best receivers in the league. I give OGR a lot of credit. He bought that jersey before anybody else. And OGR looked – and Darius Slayton to me looks the part. I think he's going to be – I'm not going to go as far to say Beckham level, but he's going to be a very, very good wide receiver.
Oh, and by the way, he blew up in that
better
Jets
than
game,
him,
by the way.
so
I mean, that was his highlight game. Either that or Detroit. But
he did blow up in that game. He had 2 touchdowns. What were you going to say, David?
I said he's been doing better than him last year and this year. So, oh shit.
Well, yeah, Beckham hasn't done much with Cleveland, so you're right. The crazy stat I heard it after the game. No receiver has caught for more touchdowns in the NFL since week 5 of last year.
Yeah,
I did see that. Yeah.
He's got 10, right?
He's got 10 since week 5 of last year. It's more than any other wide receiver in the NFL.
I think we need another. I don't want to say actual wide receiver because I think Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate are good too. But I think they're two slot receivers. I think we need someone that's another big receiver.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, there you go. Army Giants fan wants Jamar Chase. Get Jamar Chase.
I know nobody here is going to agree with me, but when you guys were talking about college prospects earlier, if the Giants go, I'd say mid-teens, early 20s, my guy, Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, telling you best tight end in the country. And I know that's not what you guys want to hear because of Evan Engram and taking another first-round tight end. But to me, Pat Freiermuth, next Kittle.
So would you off Evan Engram before the season ended? You know, if the Giants
I'm trading
not
him.
Tank mode, but losing games.
I'm trading Evan Engram his first chance I get. If he comes out and plays well, I offload him because that's at that point the highest price. If you get him to a contender, oh my God, yes.
What do you expect for Evan Engram though? Like in an ideal scenario, someone's like, "Here, blank check. What do you want for him?"
I'll take
blank
a second.
check. Ideal scenario. Right now, you're not getting more than a fifth, but if he starts, playing a little bit better, maybe a fourth or a third, but nothing more than
Here's
that.
the thing. I'm not taking a fourth for him for the simple reason that you probably get that in compensation. So
Right.
I'd rather just hold on to him for the year if that's going to be the case. If I'm trading Engram, I have to get a minimum third-round pick because you're going to get
an interesting video, Chris, would be how.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you were breaking up there. What did you say? Go ahead again.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to lag. I was going to say an interesting video, Chris, would be how Gettleman handles how he deals with his third-round picks. He wheels and deals those babies, like with Leonard Williams.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. How he gets compensation picks, you mean?
He does. Because it's that in between. It's that in between where you could possibly get that second round guy. He doesn't wheel and deal the first and second round picks, but the third round pick, it was kind of like that in between. Where you've got like, okay, maybe there were guys left over from the second round who make it to the third round. Gettleman wheels and deals the third round pick. He really does. And I think it's really interesting what he does. And Leonard Williams is one example where he gave a third round pick away, along with the fifth round, I guess.
With Leo.
Question for the panel.
Yeah.
So if Leo continues to play how he did week 1, are you willing to pay him?
That's the
If
golden
he gives us
question.
another 9 to 12 performances like he did week 1, sign him for another 4 years.
Yeah.
I think
That's
Leonard
the golden
Williams,
question.
He's the best defensive player on the Giants. I think he's very good. But do you pay a 3-4 defensive lineman, which is the fundamental defense for the Giants? Do you pay $16 million a year and probably lose Dalvin Tomlinson in the process as well?
You're going to. You're
Yeah.
going to. If you keep Leo, you're not gonna be able to keep him.
That's the thing. It's like Leo's better than Dalvin Tomlinson, in my opinion, overall. But do you pay him that money? That's the only thing that bummed me, Chris, and everyone else. That's the only thing that really bummed me about the trade. It wasn't the third and the fifth or third and fourth. It was the fact that you didn't have the guy signed up, like agreeing to a deal before he traded for him. That's the only thing that pissed me off about that trade. That was
but I'm gonna tell you this right now. If we do keep Leonard Williams and if he plays like he did week 1, keeps doing it, gets 7-8 sacks,
he's good.
Yeah.
There's a chance we do. We lose Dalvin. BJ Hill's gonna have to step up. He'll get a more expanded role.
But I'll say this: never, ever, ever, in my opinion, never take a defensive tackle, which is what Leonard Williams really was. Never take an interior defensive lineman like number 5, number 6, number 7. Never, please, don't do it.
Yeah,
you can always get really good ones.
It hasn't worked.
Like Dexter Lawrence. Don't. The Jets have done it numerous times.
Williams.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time. Don't do it. Please.
They did it with They had another guy. I forget his name. They took from Kentucky, like 3rd overall. He wasn't very good either. You're right. It's rare that a defensive tackle warrants being picked in the top 5 picks. I agree with that, especially in today's NFL.
Everyone wants to hit on that next Aaron Donald. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right about that with Aaron.
Please don't take him like top 5.
Yeah, 100%. David, I think you're
a few years ago. Williams.
I think you're muted there. I just want to see here. The Washington fan really talk. Oh, you're fighting with it.
I was reading that same one. Bad Dog is so right, though.
The ownership with Washington. Yeah, it's the worst in football.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We haven't talked enough about the surrounding teams in our division. What do you guys think about outside of? Let's talk about Washington. I think that's the biggest question mark right now of their Week 1 performance. Do you guys think that defense is legit? Like, do you think that it was more that the Eagles were banged up and they took advantage of a banged up offensive line? I'll go to Nikki first because we haven't heard from him in a while. Or do you think that Washington defense is as good as they looked Week 1?
I think that Washington's defense was good last year, and I don't know how we were able to put up that many points against them in, what was it, Week 16, Week 15? I was kind of blown away that we could do that because they already had a great defensive line or pass rush with Ryan Kerrigan, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. They're all, and Matt Ioannidis. They're all really good players.
Montez Sweat too.
And then they got Chase Young. Yeah. And then they got Chase Young. And I'm going to be honest, I was kind of rooting for the Giants to lose that game because I did really want Chase Young.
Me too. Don't worry about it.
I'm happy that we got Andrew Thomas to counterbalance that. Their corners don't know how to cover for crap, honestly. I mean, they brought back Kendall Fuller, and he really wasn't good. Lennon Collins can't cover. I don't know what happened in 2016, but he could cover then. But that was the only season where he knew how to cover. Their defense is really good. I'm afraid to play them. I think that they're gonna get 4 sacks a game against us this year. I really do.
I don't think their defense is good. I think their defensive line is on par with like a top 5 defensive line in the league. I don't think their defense is top 5 them.
No, I definitely don't. I don't think they really have the linebacking core for that, and I don't think. I mean, their front's good, but
Cole Holcomb or whatever his name was looked pretty good as a linebacker to develop, but I don't think, like you said, I don't think they have the linebacking core or the secondary to back that up for a good defense.
And for me, if they want to be on par, I mean, Dwayne Haskins is going to have to take, he's going to have to improve by leaps and bounds. He was a game manager in that game, and he did just enough to win. That's not going to be good enough most weeks against other teams. He's going to have to step up and produce because teams are going to shut down that run and say, Dwayne beat us.
The Redskins have a setup kind of like Chicago has.
Dwayne Haskins will come along when they make that offense move a little bit faster. Having him do the 5-step drops is not the vibe for Dwayne Haskins at this point in his career, this early on. But if they can do quick 3-step drops, kind of like that Ben McAdoo style offense that was trying to pass to open up the run, because the Redskins have nobody at running back right now. They had Peyton Barber get 2 touchdowns last week, but he only had like 60 yards or something like that. But on the other side of the ball, as far as defense goes, I mean, if they can bring, pressure with that front 4, the Redskins have succeeded with that for a really long time, dating all the way back to Brian Arakpo. But their cornerbacks aren't it, obviously. But if you get the pressure, you can supplement that. Yeah,
you can cover up your.
Jimmy Moreland came up with a huge interception last game, jumped up real high, climbed the ladder to get that one. Fuller didn't even play, right? I believe he was hurt.
I don't think Fuller played. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're banged up. I like Landon Collins in that style of defense because if you can get pressure, Landon Collins don't got to be back there covering for 6 and 7 seconds, 4 seconds, he can handle it, I'm sure, and he's a great tackler in the run game.
Well, that's the thing with Landon Collins. Like, and trust me, he was not good in coverage. But here's the thing: Landon Collins, he was great when he had a good surrounding defense. When he had a pass rushes in 2016, when guys were getting after the quarterback, you weren't asking Collins to do things that he wasn't capable of doing. It was only when the defense got really bad that it kind of made Collins look bad. But I think Collins is a really good player when he has a good defense around him. So I agree with you. He's going to play well in that defense if they get after the quarterback.
Hey, someone had a dumbass comment in the comments right now. Someone said Haskins is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, and he said
that every day. It's crazy.
Let's talk about Jones. Let's talk about Jones because we'll start with Nikki on this because we haven't talked enough about him off Week 1. That was a very polarizing take. There were some people that were really down on Jones after Week 1, and I at first was upset with the interception when I was on live stream. I took a day to recollect, and I thought about the game. I thought he had a great game, and I know he made one really bad mistake. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, and that was part of the reason why we lost the game, no doubt about it. But overall, I was beyond encouraged with the way that Jones played. But I want to get everybody's take on the way that Daniel Jones played Week 1, with factoring everything in, the opponent, the fact that we couldn't run the ball, everything else. Nikki, let's start with you.
Okay, that 19-play drive, my jaw was dropping to the ground the entire time. All I saw was was arm strength. All I saw was decision making. All I saw was just a zip on the ball. Like a couple of those drops, I do not think were entirely Evan Ingram's and Saquon's fault. I think Daniel Jones threw the ball too hard to Saquon, to be honest with you. I saw it.
It's the NFL, though, Nicky.
Yeah, it's the NFL, man. I'm sorry. Catch it, Saquon. You get your hands on it, you got to catch it, buddy.
50 yards, you're throwing him a 60-mile-an-hour ball, and it hits him in the chest. Like, that's hard to catch. It really is. If it was out in front in the midst, like he's running a slant, that's a different story. But it's hard to catch a ball that fast right here. It really is.
That's tough to agree with. Have you ever seen Odell Beckham laying on his back, catching off the pitching machine at 100, one-handed? This the NFL, you know.
His chest isn't in the way of his hands, and you can't absorb the ball anymore into your chest. You can go as far back with your elbows as you want there. That's a hard catch mechanically to make.
Yeah, it is. But they're getting paid big money. They're getting paid big money, Nicky.
But back to Daniel Jones. I think that him and Slayton have a really special connection. I was kind of late to the Slayton train because, I don't see elite elusiveness or elite route running, but what I do see is a hard worker, like a mind tumor. He was never an elite receiver, but I think we found another guy that's going to be here for 10 years that'll consistently just, get just over 1,000 yards, get around 8 to 9 touchdowns. And the only thing is, I think that, it's his fault for that interception down in the red zone. But I think that's something that you go back and look at film, and I think that's a fix that's like that. I don't think we make him make that same mistake more than one or two more times this entire season. He knows it. He knows that when he sees another play like TJ Watt, he has to watch out for that. I guarantee you Khalil Mack's going to want to see what TJ Watt did. He'd be like, I want to get a pick like that too and take advantage of a young quarterback. So I think that he's going to be more aware of that. And Daniel Jones put up 280 on a defense that allowed 176 all year last year. I thought he played great. I think we have a franchise quarterback for the next 15 years. I think he's going to make 6 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, I listen, man. I've been critical of Daniel Jones on my channel. Not that I've said that he's going to be bad, but I've kind of been like, I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to hail him the next Eli Manning. I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback in the East.
Nobody's going to hail him the Eli Manning until he wins that Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's got to win that Super Bowl. But I wasn't even ready to say that I think he's going to be the franchise quarterback. I've got to see it. And I'm still not completely going to say that yet. I'm definitely leaning that way, and it's what I believe. I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. And I was more impressed with this start more so than any other start in his entire career since he's been in the NFL. When you factor in the defense he played against, you factor in that it's a new system. He had no time to prepare. There was no preseason. He looked confident. He was putting zip on his throws. I was very impressed with Daniel Jones week 1 when I went back, looked at the game. Some of those throws he made, he wasn't making them last year. And some of the throws that he made in that game, half the starting quarterbacks in this league ain't making. He put a lot of zip on those throws. The throw that really impressed. What were you saying, Nicky? Yeah, it was night and day.
Yeah. Him compared to Sam Darnold, like Saquon was the right pick. I don't care what anyone says. We don't have Daniel Jones if we didn't take Saquon. We weren't taking Quentin Nelson number 2 overall. That wasn't happening. That's what I laugh at. That's what I laugh at because that's what I hear all the time about the Saquon pick. And listen, I'm gonna be completely unbiased here. The optimal thing to do with that pick, if we weren't taking a quarterback, would have been to trade down. I'll be the first to say it right now. If we could have got the 5th overall pick, a future first. Do it. And maybe they could have, maybe they couldn't have. We don't know. Hey, you hear rumors that come out.
The Jets 3 second-round picks. Is that what they gave up to the Bills, I think?
They jumped from 6 to 3, the Colts.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Colts, right? The Colts, exactly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you take that?
Yeah, of course I would have taken that. That would have been optimal.
I'm saying no criticism.
But what have the Jets done with those 3 second-round picks?
Exactly.
But what I was going to say is the thing that I commonly hear is Go ahead, Joe.
The Giants got the Colts took the Jets first round pick plus 3 second round picks, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Right. That would have been optimal. That would have been optimal, right, Chris?
Of course. Yeah, that would have been 100%. That would have been optimal. But what I hear from people all the time is, well, if they weren't going to trade down, they should have just taken Nelson. If they weren't going to take a quarterback, and here's what I'll say to that. The same people that are complaining about a running back, we would have been just as bad of a team with Nelson. It's not like a guard would have changed this for the franchise of this football team. The surrounding offensive line would have still been bad. We still would have had Eli Manning at quarterback, and everybody would have complained, and they would have said, well, you should have taken Saquon Barkley, because Barkley would have ended up on another team. He would have been putting up 3,000 yards. So,
and no one mentioned Chubb. Chubb had a great rookie year with Cleveland.
He did have a great. Yeah,
Solid
yeah.
back.
Yeah, with the Broncos, you mean? The edge rusher.
Yeah, but he's been injured
Yeah, I'm
since.
sorry, Broncos. I keep thinking the Browns. They had so many picks.
because they got Chubb, the running back.
The Broncos,
They got Chubb.
exactly. He had a very good
Actually
rookie year.
Yeah, we could have taken Chubb also, but people. Tell me the last time, OGR, that a guard went second overall. Everybody says that.
Brandon Sheriff, I think, or not second overall, but the top 5 Brandon Sheriff, I think.
Yeah, but second overall, you don't see guard. Like, it's more common probably to see a running back go second overall than a guard second overall. And Quentin Nelson's a great player. I would have been very happy if he was a New York Giant. But if we were picking at 2 and we stayed at 2 and we weren't taking a quarterback, I don't think you could really complain about Barkley. But I agree, optimally, it would have been best to trade down. I'll agree with that.
Nothing against Nelson. I'm not taking a guard at number 2. That's period. I don't care who it is. I'm just not.
Yeah,
doing
but
it.
he's the best guard in the league, though. No, I'm not really making that argument at all. He's a Hall of Famer. He's already has a gold jacket. They already gave it to him.
I think he's great. I think he's great.
Two.
But my point is, people would have complained just as much about the Nelson pick as they did about the Saquon pick.
Absolutely.
You know?
Hindsight's 2020. I mean, you know what? We're all great 2020 GM drafters after the draft is over.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
And in this case, they should know that. I mean, Saquon was a fantastic pick.
Yeah. Now, Saquon's got to be able to block for him, but he's a hell of a talent.
I don't understand why we still have this like conversation. Like Saquon is an amazing player.
David, you know why we're having this conversation? Because we're not winning.
That's true.
If we start winning, this conversation goes away.
Yeah, because all your picks look bad when you're losing games.
Exactly.
Yep. Totally.
And people find more and more stuff to nitpick. Next week, you're going to hear, if we lose the game tomorrow, Hernandez was a terrible second round pick, and then people will start nitpicking on him. I don't think he was either, but I mean, I'm just using this as an example of what people
just for once run behind the damn guy. The guy's a roadblocker. Jesus, I mean, just run behind the guy for once. Stop running to the right side. Just run behind him and Thomas, for God's sake.
That's what we got to do.
Let me ask y'all something. Do y'all think that maybe like the Giants and Saquon Barkley's game plan is a little bit too obvious and people come out knowing that we're trying to establish the run early and that's kind of backfiring on us?
I think teams are going to do that regardless until Daniel Jones proves that he can go over the top on a consistent basis.
What else do they have to worry about on offense other than Saquon Barkley, if we're going to be honest here?
Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton now, that's about it.
Ingram's got to step up.
He's got to step up.
You know what, guys? You fix the offensive line where they can both pass protect decently and run block decently. It takes care of everything. And
everything looks better.
Well,
everything looks better. That's what it is.
How did Saquon look when we had Odell? The defense have to worry about Odell too. The box wasn't stacked every single play.
No, it couldn't be.
Yeah,
because you had a legit wide receiver at that point that was going for 1,300 and 1,400 yards.
Yeah.
So, or at the potential.
We didn't have any running backs at that time, though.
Well, we did the last year.
There was that 1 year with Saquon and Odell, and I'm real surprised they broke that up so quick because, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, it's an amazing thing to have Odell and Saquon Barkley on your team, one, and then for explosive, like you have Odell running these fly routes, taking the safety out, getting double teamed. It's just going to open up stuff for the running game, and I'm surprised they just like blew that up quick.
But you know what? In Odell's rookie year, well, I should say his second year, because rookie year he was just it was a surprise. It came out real quick. But Saquon, his rookie year, he exploded onto the scene. OBJ's rookie year, he exploded onto the scene. But teams could prepare for them the second year. So it was different. So they had to focus on the second year of Barkley's second year. It was different, but with OBJ, I mean, I don't know. He was in my opinion, he was a pain in the rear end. It was time for him to go. And when they got the deal for him that they got, it was time to go. It was time
definitely a lot of off the field stuff with him.
Yeah,
but
and he's not
what
a horrible
I did like
person.
about him was that when you run the quick slant the way Odell Beckham does,
my God,
you can't
no one
sit
ran
in a regular cover two. The
No one ran
quarterback
a
that's
better
out there is
decision to
going to
make
have
at
to
the
follow
time.
in on that quick slant.
I've never seen anyone run it better ever in my life.
Well,
It was the right decision to make, but with Odell, Saquon was just a different person. You didn't have to worry about Saquon. There was something else about our offense that you had to game plan for.
Let's be fair though. The offensive line that year, the second half, and maybe Odell had something to do with that, but Odell missed the last 4 games. The offensive line still looked good. The offensive line, the second half of Saquon's rookie year was fantastic. They played great.
Yeah.
Nate Solder played much better.
Yeah.
Jamon Brown stepped in. He played well.
Jamon Brown from the Rams, that mid-year signing, that really changed our line that year.
Yeah.
And then they let him go.
Yeah. And Odell.
And now he's an Eagle.
Odell missed those last 4 games. Odell didn't play the Colts game where we were moving the ball against the Indianapolis Colts, who were the best team in football at that point in time. They had won like 7 or 8 in a row. We went toe-to-toe with the Cowboys the last week. Odell definitely helps. There's no doubt about it. If the Giants bring in a supreme wide receiver, though, the Odell talk goes away. There's your supreme wide receiver.
I think another thing that people overlook, too, is what Eli Manning did for this offense. I mean, pre-snap. Daniel Jones is awful pre-snap. I'll see the blitz like towering down from the left side. It's like he doesn't even see it, and then he says hike, and you got Bud Dupree right in your face now, untouched. So I think that also helped Saquon Barkley a lot too. Having somebody at the helm like Eli Manning who could check out of these pass plays and get the right running play called at the line and open up things for Saquon Barkley. Where now we're just seeing it like Daniel Jones line up, look at the play. I might have saw him audible maybe twice the whole game.
He was doing a very good job of checking out at the beginning of the game, though.
You could see Daniel Jones. He would look at the person who's coming to blitz, and he wouldn't do a thing about it. He would just carry on with the play, and then boom, -5 yards. And then you're like, come on, bro.
Listen,
like having Eli definitely did help a lot.
100%. And that's one of the most underrated things about Eli and just experienced quarterbacks in general. A lot of that position is mental experience. And Daniel Jones should get better at that as he grows, as he gets more accustomed. We got to remember he's only had 13 starts in the NFL. But yeah, Eli Manning's experience knowing defenses, he played the game so long, he knew every single look an opposing defense could throw at you. So that was something that was definitely underrated from Eli Manning's game late in his career, just his knowledge of opposing defenses. That's a great point. Authentic.
And Pat Shermer's job in that situation too, was
2015 when he threw 35 touchdowns. That no one talks about that. They act like Eli fell off after the Super Bowl. He made a Pro Bowl in 2014 and threw 35 in 2015. I don't understand.
2015, he had his best regular season statistically.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Eli Manning in 2015. He had a great statistic.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. 2011, Eli is one of the best quarterbacks.
Oh no, 2011. I'm saying
2011 is crazy.
Yeah.
But statistically,
pure
2015.
2015 is his best year. But 2011, let's talk.
2011 was phenomenal.
2011 Eli Manning to me is
oh my god,
Mario Manningham.
Call me biased, guys. 2011 Eli Manning to me is one of the 5 best individual seasons I've ever seen a quarterback have. When you
MVP
factor
year,
in
my opinion,
when you factor in everything he had to overcome, I mean, it was insane.
They don't sniff the playoffs without Eli and the wide receivers. It could be a rock band. It's the early '60s rock band. Eli and the wide receivers, but it's Eli, Hakeem Nicks, Cruz, and obviously Mario Manningham.
Yeah.
Kevin Boss, I think, was on that squad too, right?
And I love the running backs, BJ and Bradshaw, but obviously there wasn't a great offensive line running back. It wasn't a great running offensive line. Those wide receivers, but Eli and the wide receivers, they don't sniff the playoffs without Eli. And that was 2011, almost 5,000 yards with a crappy defense. And just nothing against the running backs. It just wasn't a very good, running oriented offensive line. Eli and the wide receivers had to pretty much do everything. I
challenge anyone on this panel and anyone in this chat. I'm going to get to these super chats in 1 second. Thank you, goes to the Judah Tribe. I challenge anybody in here to tell me a quarterback that's made the playoffs, let alone won a Super Bowl, with the 32nd ranked rushing offense.
Exactly.
And the 27th ranked overall defense in football for the entirety of the regular season. The guy had 7 fourth-quarter comebacks, 7 game-winning drives in the regular season. It's still a record to this day.
Yep.
And if you include the playoffs that year, no quarterback in the history of football has thrown for more yards in a single season.
I've never seen a Giants quarterback better. And Phil Simms or Hostetler or Kerry Collins, whoever, I've never seen a Giants quarterback better than Eli Manning in 2011. It was lights out. You can bank it. It was going to be like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and maybe at most 1 interception, 1 mistake. He was in his prime. In 2011 was friggin' fantastic.
Agreed. I always used to say back then you couldn't spell believe without Eli.
Yeah, they had to wait for OG to come back. They had to wait for Boley to come back. They had a lot of injuries. Maybe Webster might have been injured too. Yeah. And they had to wait for the defense to get healthy. But Eli and the wide receivers, oh my God, what a friggin' fantastic year that was. That was awesome.
That was a great year.
That year, awesome. I remember watching the Super Bowl. I remember watching the Super Bowl at my ex-girlfriend's house. Let me just read this real quick. Ghost, man, thank you so much. Ghost to Judas Tribe, big Bears fan. He says, Daniel ain't worth a dime, taking a beat down tomorrow. We'll see about that, my man. Roldy, I'm going to get to that in 1 second.
The saga of Daniel Jones is awesome. I love it.
But I remember, and it wasn't just in the Super Bowl. It was that entire season. Anytime Eli had the ball, and there was 3 minutes left. I knew the game was over.
Oh,
and
you knew.
It was the 2007 season, the 2011 season. I had completely different reactions to that last drive. The 2008 Super Bowl, I thought we were going to lose. I said in my head, I'm like, Eli's going to make a mistake. Eli's going to make a mistake. In 2012, I told my ex-girlfriend at the time, I just sat back on the couch. As soon as we got the ball, when he missed Welker on the throw, I said, this game's over. Giants won. And I was that confident in Eli Manning that
guys, I'm the same way. I went into that Super Bowl where I'm like, you know what, the Giants, whatever, they ended the season 9-7 or whatever they were. They went to the playoffs. I was telling everyone, I'm like, I've got no concerns. Like, this game's like the Giants are. We all know by the Super Bowl, by the day of the Super Bowl, we know that the Giants, with their healthy defense, they were the better team. The offense was carrying the team. Eli was carrying the team, and the wide receivers too. It was and the Patriots of 2011 and 12 were not the Patriots of 16-0. It wasn't the same team.
Not even close.
By Super Bowl, it was, in my opinion, Giants were clearly better, and they should have won by more. But whatever, they won.
I don't care. They won.
They won. It was even better. Mario Manningham, beautiful catch. Oh man,
the throw. You got the throw. The throw was you couldn't. Manningham had to catch it. There was no choice but to because of the throw. Just incredible. Roldy, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says no one would have complained of us taking an offensive lineman, whether it was a guard or tackle, with the second overall pick. You don't take a running back that high. By the way, we ain't winning with Barkley.
I'm not taking a guard at number 2.
Roldy, I disagree, Roldy. I think a lot of people would have complained with a guard. A tackle, I agree. No one's complaining with a tackle. You don't take very rare. You take a guard that high,
Chris. Right? I think with our team exclusively, they would have complained with anything we took at that point.
Yeah, unless it was a quarterback, then people would have been fine. But here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, to me, if Daniel Jones turns out, and we don't know this, but if he turns out to be a better quarterback, I'm not going to count Lamar Jackson because he was never in the discussion. Nobody, and people could say it, and I know that there's going to be some people listening that are saying, I knew Lamar Jackson, but none of the team, the guy went the last pick in the first round for a reason. Nobody had him on their board that high in the draft. So if Daniel Jones turns out to be a better quarterback than Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Sam Darnold, you can't complain with the pick because Gettleman had the balls to pass up on the quarterback, which everybody wanted them to take. Everybody that says they want the guard now on draft night, I would say 95% of you guys wanted a quarterback or you wanted them right
about
now.
that.
Well, I think the only person that's even giving Daniel Jones some competition there would be Josh Allen. Because I don't think Sam Darnold is going to belong for this league or Josh. I don't even think Josh Rosen on the team yet. Oh, he plays for the Buccaneers. Never mind.
Yeah,
he's a bust. You know what I was going to say too is that the canceling of Eli Manning after week 2 in that rookie year of Daniel Jones, that really hurt his career because not a lot of quarterbacks get thrown to the wolves and have success. So now we got to see Daniel Jones kind of like practicing on the field, turning the ball over a lot, few interceptions here and there, led the league in fumbles and stuff like that, when in reality it should have been more of like a Patrick Mahomes situation where we groomed him for a year, but Pat Shurmur's job was on the line. They had to make the move early on to keep their job because I think he would have been fired midseason if Eli was still the quarterback.
You hit that right on the head, Authentic, and I said that, and there was a lot of people that were completely for it. And when Daniel Jones played as good as he did against Tampa Bay, I said, well, maybe I was wrong, because he looked so good that first game against Tampa Bay. But I looked at it like you have a guy that could groom him. What was the reason for keeping Eli Manning if you weren't going to at least let him play 8 or 9 starts and ease Daniel Jones into that position? The only reason Daniel Jones came in after week 3, because if you're being fair and you go back and look, Eli played well against the Cowboys week 1. He was not the reason they lost that game. They had about 500 yards of offense. And week 2, you played the Buffalo Bills, the best defense in football. The only reason that they brought Daniel Jones in as quickly as they did was because Shurmur said to himself, well, I'm going to lose my job. This defense looks horrible, and I'm going to put the blame on Eli Manning, and I'm going to throw Jones out there before he's ready. But people will ease up on me because they'll say it was a rookie quarterback and they'll give me another year. That is the only reason, in my opinion, they brought Jones in as quickly as they did. And I agree it was a mistake. And I'm not saying that it's going to cost them anything because Jones, to me, looks pretty good. And you learn by getting thrown in the fire. But I thought they had an opportunity to let him learn for 8 or 9 starts. And I thought he would have been more comfortable. Maybe you don't see as many fumbling woes. And maybe he would have been better at reading zone coverage and things like that without getting thrown out there week 3. So I think that's a great point by you, Authentic.
I feel bad for
him
Drew
week 1
Lock.
too. I mean, he got cracked a bunch of times. He didn't fumble that ball. The one that he did fumble, they didn't call the fumble, and we needed it to be called a fumble so it could be a touchdown.
Yeah, what is that about? The one time you want to see him fumble, they don't call it a fumble.
Yeah, man. These referees, man, they're so inconsistent.
Right. Fire them all.
Yeah, fire them all is right. Rolly, man, thanks for love. He says offensive line is much more. Oh, I already read that. I think I did. Offensive line is much more important than running back. I don't care. Oh no, I didn't. He is a touch by the hand of God. Fans want to talk blank about we weren't winning with Odell. Well, we ain't winning with Barkley. No, you're right. We're not winning with Barkley. We weren't winning with Odell. We broke this team down. We started from scratch. And if we had Odell's team, if we're being fair, yeah, they would have been more entertaining. We weren't winning many more football games. We still have the same problems we had when we had Odell.
And he almost cost us the Bear game 2 years ago, if everybody remembers that.
Yeah, and alligator arms on the onside kick. But we weren't winning at many more games, whether we had Odell.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I know we have, there's Odell fans, but if you watch his touchdown catch with the Browns the other night, it went off his face mask and into his hands. Just saying. He's not the same player he was when he was a Giant. Ever since that ankle injury, he hasn't been.
We got maximum value for him, period. But I still wish he was a Giant.
Yeah, no, he would definitely bring a threat on the outside. Chizola, thanks for love. He says, Chris, my prediction, we win 26-21. Remember this. I'll remember it. I had 2019 Giants.
I like that.
I had 2017 with Graham Gano winning, kicking the game-winning field goal from 60 yards.
I had 24. I think I had
make it 70 at this point.
I think I had 24, 23 on Chris's web on YouTube channel, and then on someone else's I had 2017. I think we win either way.
You got us by about a field goal.
Yeah, 1 to 3 points. Yeah.
Yeah, I got us by one. I got
the road.
I got us by the score we should have won last year. We should have won 2019 last year, but Rosas missed 2 field goals, so we lost 19-14. So I got us 2019 this year.
We should have won that Jets game because of Rojas. Rojas was a big reason why we lost.
We lost 2 games that we should have won last year.
Major fall off last year. Yeah.
And we have to see Jamal Adams, gifts all year long.
My theory is Rojas was drunk on the field. That's my theory.
Wouldn't doubt it.
DWK, drinking while kicking. Danny Thomas says, the Bear fan that thinks Daniel Jones is worse than Trubisky can kick rocks. Giants win 17-14. The D-line gets 4 sacks.
I'll take that all day.
I'll take that all day. All day.
Yeah. I'd like to see
sexy Dexy.
Yeah,
if the Giants win, we're going to score a lot of points, though, I think. I mean, Daniel Jones is going to be on fire for us to get a W.
I tend to agree with you. I think we're going to need at least 23. I think low 20s. I think it'll get us a win. I think 21, 20, 24, 23. I think that'll get us a win. I don't see Trubisky going out there and throwing it all over the football field. I think the Giants will stay aggressive on defense.
When do you think Hernandez is going to show up? Xavier, that is.
McKinney, you mean?
No. I'm sorry. Who am I thinking of? I'm sorry, the linebacker.
Zimenez.
Yeah, Zimenez. I'm sorry.
He was a ghost out there.
No, they hardly played him.
Yeah, he didn't play much.
I saw somewhere he played 44% of the snaps.
What did Golden play in terms?
I think it was like 30-something.
This is a Patriots-oriented offense. I mean, defense.
Fackrell was in there a lot too on that side.
Whoever they're playing against, we didn't see X-Man. When do you think we're gonna see? We said Carter last week. When do you think we're gonna see X-Man show up?
I say next week.
I think it'd be this game because the Bears' offensive line isn't. It's not bad. It's not as good as playing against the Steelers' offensive line.
I'm gonna tell you what. I think as much as I want to see X-Men out there more this week, I think they're gonna play Fackrell. Fackrell's very accustomed to this offense playing with the Packers. He's played them twice every year for the last 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I think Fackrell and Martinez, that's a big advantage for both of those players. So I actually think Fackrell's gonna get probably as many snaps as he did this week. I want to see Zimenez though. I want to see Carter and Zimenez. Yeah. So, but
at this point, when you get a shot, can you read that $10 super chat? Because I got to show somebody why I'm OGR.
I think
yeah. I'll get to that $10 donation right now. First, I'll reach as always says, it's all good, guys. Darnold's still hanging with Casper. Darnold's still seeing ghosts.
I forgot about that.
And all right, here we are. OGR. Roldy says to OGR, because OBJ caught the ball on his face mask means he ain't the same player. What type of logic is that? I tell you, some Giants fans are something else. Let's get your take on that, OGR.
All right, so let's face it, bro. OGR hasn't been the same player since 2017. I mentioned it. And
you haven't been playing since 2017.
You mean OBJ now?
Oh, yeah, whatever. I mean, hey, I've been rebuttaling people since 2017, so whatever. So OBJ is not the same player. Statistically, grade-wise, however you want to look at it, he's not the same player. He's not the same player pre-ankle injury. And that's all I'm saying. And I don't know if it's distractions. People want to blame it on the quarterback. People wanted to blame Eli Manning. He's not the same player, period. He's being overpaid. Some logic, the logic's there. All the facts are laid out in front of you. Yeah, I thought it was very poor job to let the ball hit your face mask when your job is to catch the ball. I think that's laziness.
He caught it.
He caught it.
Tyree caught one for us off his helmet. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's a great point on that. That's a great point.
There's about 20 other wide receivers I take before I take OBJ.
I want to get Nikki's take on this because Nikki's a big OBJ guy. And I know he's not like I know Nikki's not liking
no bias though. No bias.
All right. Okay. I'll admit he's not the same. He doesn't have that same edge. He's not in the top 3 wide receiver conversation anymore. Like it used to be him, Julio, and Antonio Brown. Those were the top 3, and it was not debatable. He lost his step. I still think he might run high 4.4s, low 4.5s, like 4.5 flat at a minimum. He is still a top 3 route runner in the league. He is still a top 3 route runner. He still has a top 3 pair of mitts. And I just think that, he had 1,000 yards, his last year in the Giants, and he missed 4 games. He still had that production. I was at the game where he broke his ankle and Sterling Shepard twisted his ankle and Brandon Marshall tore his Achilles. I was at the game. That was heartbreaking. I heard Odell screaming. I mean, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But no, I think he's still a top 10 wide receiver. I think he deserves to be getting paid what he's paid. And I still miss him every single day. So
you know what? Wait, Nick, you know what? I was never a huge OBJ guy except his rookie year because it was phenomenal to watch his development. I was never a big OBJ guy, and I was, with the trade with the compensation that Gettleman got back, I was happy with it. But if they somehow traded for OBJ now, I would be thrilled with it as long as he wouldn't be a jerk off. I'd be very happy. I'd be very happy with it. I really would. I'd love to see the guy, and as long as Cleveland would pay like half his salary, I'd love to have him back. It felt wrong that he was gone. It didn't
give him the 3rd round pick and get it done.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Supposed to reach greatness with the Giants, but
here's the thing. And I'd be for OBJ if we got him back on a cheap deal.
Half the price.
Here's
just half the price.
But this is why it's not going to happen. And we'll take
Dave
Joe
Gettleman.
Judge. We'll take Gettleman and Joe Judge out of it. Let's just say the Giants said, okay, we need a receiver, we'll do it. But if you're Cleveland, you have probably 15 other teams to trade him to. Why in the world would you trade him back to the team that you gave up a 1st-round pick, a former 1st-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick to for a much lower price? They would look like absolute fools. They're going to look like fools trading away anyway, but then you're trading them back.
I got the reason.
Dave Gettleman would look like Danny Ainge that Cleveland in the NBA.
What'd you say?
We are the market that he wants. And number 2, we can afford a salary. That is if Cleveland needs half his salary. No trade picks, nothing else. Give this OBJ, you pay half his salary, we'll take him off of your hands. That's it.
Nikki, what were you gonna say?
He wants to be in New York.
I was gonna say
no one else.
Point because he can demand where he wants to go. He has that kind of power because he's that kind of superstar. But the one good thing that came out of the Odell trade for me personally was getting Jabril Peppers because I love Jabril Peppers. He went to my high school, and I was the one good thing that could cheer me up while I was trying to cope with Odell not being there anymore. But I really feel like I got robbed of seeing Odell and Saquon together for a long time. I mean,
I know.
I still rock the Odell jersey every now and then. I watch every Browns game because I want to see Odell, and I also rock my Color Rush Saquon jersey every single game. So. I wish I could see them together more. That's the one thing I feel like I got.
I should rock the Color Rush Saquon today.
I
did rock it. I did rock it in the video.
I wish it was more.
Did you go to Primus Catholic?
Say it again.
Did you go to Primus Catholic?
Do I go to?
No, I went to Don Bosco Prep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's talking to Nikki.
I'm sorry. Okay. I thought that was authentic saying that. I'm sorry, Nikki. You went to Don Bosco? Well, I lived like 5 minutes away from you. Probably.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy.
Yeah,
I'm in between Primus Catholic where Jabril Peppers went and Don Bosco. I'm on Route 17.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
We
but
got neighbors.
I wanted to chime in
go.
about the Odell Beckham thing.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I mean, really, the only thing that's down with the Odell numbers is the touchdowns. He's had 1,000 yards every healthy year. I want to say it's 6 seasons I was just looking at. Now, you look at Jarvis Landry, who came over from Miami. He was a 100-ball catcher a year, out of there. Now you see him with the Browns. He looks like junk. I mean, so we can't look over that they're playing for the Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to put some of that on Mayfield also.
Yeah, I mean, OBJ was playing with Eli Manning his whole career. One quarterback developed a chemistry with him, and with Baker, you see the chemistry's not there. They looked crazy in that first week. Odell was targeted 11 times or something like that, only had 3 catches. I'm still an Odell fan. He was sitting on the bench on my fantasy team, and I saw the numbers. I'm like, come on, man, you got to be better than that.
Hey, listen,
What were you saying, Nicky? You got cut off there. What were you saying?
Oh no. Well, what I was gonna say was, well, first of all, Saquon actually lives right up the street from me. He's my neighbor, and I actually met him. This summer. I worked at a restaurant, and I was a busser. And Saquon came in. I got to meet Saquon. The Jets are there all the time. I have friends that have a million pictures with Quinnen Williams, Joe Flacco, Le'Veon Bell. It's some cool stuff.
That's awesome, man. You told me that on Twitter that your neighbors with him. Cizolo, man, thank you so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, I low-key think that OBJ has a comeback season. I actually agree with you. I said that in my Discord the other day. I think he's going to have a good year this year. But we'll see. I'll tell you what, if he doesn't have a comeback year this year, Baker Mayfield is done as the Browns quarterback because there's no excuses this year.
I think he's done if he just doesn't do well, period. If he can't do well in this offense, they got their right tackle. They fixed up the line a little bit. All those weapons. They got their new coach. If you can't do it this year, you're not going to be able to do it.
I agree.
Period.
There's no excuses for Mayfield this year. Put up or shut up.
No
David, man, thank you so much. He says, hey, guys, is it safe yet to say Daniel Jones is a better pick than Dave Brown and Andrew Thomas is a better pick than Eric Flowers? Set the bar low. I mean, I could 1,000,000% on both pretty much, but definitely Andrew Thomas. And Daniel Jones, yes. I mean, Dave Brown might have shown a couple of flashes when he first came in, but he was a horrible quarterback. Yes, David. If they're not better than those two guys, we're gonna have serious problems for a long time. So yes, I'm gonna be optimistic and say that they will be better than both of those players. Yes. Anybody have any disagreements with that?
Nah.
Actually, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Roldy, man, thank you so much, man.
I got you a $50 super chat, so I'm happy about it.
Wow, man, thank you so much, Roldy, man. I appreciate it, man. He says, look at his quarterback, OJR. You sound like some Giant fans when a player is on your team. OJR is gonna have to rebut this. You talking blank, but once he's off your team, that's when you want to say something. Stop. That's whack, bro. Talking about face mask. He caught the ball. You got
obviously he doesn't know me because I can be objective. I can say when a player's good or a player's bad or when the player's washed. Like it doesn't matter if he's on the Giants or not. I can think of plenty of players that I could say, okay, he was here, he was with the Giants, and then he went over here. It honestly does not matter. Okay, so obviously he's clearly an OBJ fan. He wants to stick up for OBJ. That's fine. That's great. But we'll see. We'll see this season with OBJ. Let's see if he can get back to the 1,400-yard guy because that's what Cleveland's playing for. Period. End of story. And if he doesn't get back to that, it's a disappointment. Sorry. That's just
that's fair. That's fair. I think he's gonna have a good year, but that's fair. If OBJ doesn't put up what does he make it $16 million a year or so as a wide receiver? If you don't put up $16 million numbers, part of it's his fault, part of it's Mayfield's fault, but at the end of the day, let's be fair. OBJ complained about Eli Manning every chance he got. I mean, let's be fair. Even the biggest OBJ fan has to admit that. Yeah. So you pissed and moaned when Eli Manning was producing for you and you were putting up the best stats in the league and you want it out of here as fast as you can. Sometimes, be careful.
The grass isn't always greener.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
And maybe he will get that trade. Maybe he gets to go to New England and Cam Newton. If he does, great.
Look at his first 2 years, all the TDs and the yards he put up. Oh my God, with him and Eli. And Eli is
Stephen Lilly. Have you seen his targets? Sorry to interrupt. Well, did you see his targets the first week?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? OBJ?
OBJ. Yeah, he's like, oh, they don't use him that much. Look at his first week in targets.
Roldy, man, thanks for the love. He says, thank you, Authentic. No wonder you call yourself Authentic. I see real, unlike some Giants fans, respect.
Thank you, man. I try, man. I
A
try.
compliment with a diss.
Except
Tasteful.
that 10-6 prediction I got for us this year. That was a little crazy. But, beginning of the year, I had no preseason. I'm like,
You're a
man,
Giants
call
fan.
it.
You're a Giants fan.
Hey,
You're a Giants.
Gotta
I
have some
went
hope,
6
man.
and 10.
Yeah, I
You're
had 6
authentic.
and 10, 7 and 9.
Yeah.
I think in our division with a 7 and 9, 7 and 9, we could still make the fucking playoffs. If I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Well, the schedule that everybody plays is brutal. I mean, if the Cowboys lose this week, they could easily start 0-3. So
I would not want to face the Cowboys at 0-3.
well,
Yeah, that'd
That's
be
a
tough.
scary ass team, I think.
And that's going to be the Browns if that happens.
yeah, good
Well, if we
point.
lose this game, we can easily be 0-5. So
Let's win then. Let's win then.
First round pick.
Let's get a win. Chisolo says, Danny with Slayton and Odell. I'll take that any day.
Man, I read that too. He right about that.
that would have been crazy.
Danny with Slayton, and hopefully we get a guy to replace Odell. That's what I'll say. Hopefully we get another premium receiver next year.
Also,
And-
we can all agree DJ's better than Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
consensus.
Okay, look
Baker
around the
had a
league.
great rookie year, though.
He did. He had 27 touchdowns.
Yeah,
But-
he had a great rookie year.
Best rookie year by a rookie.
But let's look around
Quarterback.
the league right now. Tell me I'm sure there's a couple, but how many quarterbacks have a better surrounding talent than Baker Mayfield? I mean, last year the excuse was the offensive line. You went out there, you added the best offensive line in free agency with Conklin. You drafted 10th overall with a guy that a lot of Giants fans were on board with at number 4 with Jedrick Wills.
Yeah.
You've got Odell Beckham, who I think we all agree is at a bare minimum a top 15 wide receiver in the league. You had another really good tight end. The guy from the Falcons, I don't know why.
Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper. You got a great possession receiver over there in Jarvis Landry. David Njoku's a good weapon as well. You got a great running back. There is not many quarterbacks with a better surrounding cast than Baker
and he's
Mayfield.
on
Name
his,
one
his
weakness
third
on that
head coach.
offense. I
He's
dare
not
you.
many.
Line.
Coach of the year.
O-line. That's it. Week
And
one
even
shows you
in the O-line
is
is
not out.
better, but Wills is still a rookie left tackle, so that could be a weakness. But
Yeah.
you look around, maybe the Cowboys have a better supporting cast, maybe the Falcons have a better supporting cast from that, but there's very few. So
Yeah.
there's no excuses for Mayfield this year.
That's
None.
facts.
Let's see. Michael, man, thanks for the love. He says, not a Giants fan. Keep up the great work. Well, I appreciate that. I'm a Michael Sachs fan. Thank you for the love, man. I appreciate that. And I think I got one more I just want to read. Roldy, man, thank you so much. He said, OGR got a brother hot right now. my dude said OBJ caught the ball with his helmet. He washed up, but I'm done. Now carry on. Roldy had to defend his guy, man, and I get it.
Hey, he's got to defend his guy. It's all good. I mean, hey, I got you to give about $60 to Chris for that? Hell, that's worth it.
Rolly's always a great guy. He's always in the stream showing support. But yeah, I mean, he's a passionate fan. I talk to him all the time on Twitter. Great subscriber of mine. Definitely check out Authentic, Roldy, if you haven't done so. You're saying that you love his takes. He's got a channel. In my opinion, I'm telling you right now, the first time I watched Authentic's podcast, I legitimately thought it was professional. I was watching. I'm like, this looks like something I'd see on like ESPN. Like you have like 4 different camera angles. It's great. It is fantastic. Your podcast. I would love to come on. By the way,
I come from a media background, so I definitely appreciate those words, but it better look like a professional podcast because when it comes to the sports takes, I'm just keeping it real. I'm not digging through the numbers, and I'm gonna let y'all do that because y'all call the games fantastic. We just trying to find a lane in New York Giants, like podcasting and doing vlogs and stuff like that other people aren't tackling. So, just some laid back, chill vibes on Authentic and the Beard, man. And we upped the ante this year, and we are doing 3 shows a week now. So we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do Tuesday reviews from the past week, Thursday previews, and Sunday we have a show called The Parlay that we're just like hanging out, kind of like what we're doing right now, and just chopping it up with fantasy football and stuff like that, and betting as well.
Are you're live on Tuesday?
Yeah. Yep.
What time?
7 p.m.
All right. I mean, I if you want me to come on the show, I will promote the hell out of it. But if you have a spot, I would love to come on.
100%, man.
All right. There you
Anybody
go,
on
guys.
the panel today, because we've been looking to bring on a lot more guests because we're actually doing our stream through StreamYard as well, and it makes it very simple for you to just tap somebody in and bring them in on the stream. So yeah, anybody on the panel, man, reach out to us, dude. We'll totally have you guys on as guests, man. We need more Giants, Big Blue kind of vibes on my channel because the 2 other hosts are both Redskins fans, so they're always jumping on me, man. I'm repping solo for us, man. So I need y'all with the numbers. I heard some good takes today, man. I need y'all to come on the channel and help rep for us.
I know you probably didn't hear the
there.
end of it with the Redskins or the football team's 8 sacks that they had against the Eagles. I know they were just in your ears. Defensive line.
And my boy called it. I got to give him props on that. He called it. He said 7 sacks, and when we were watching the game together, and when it hit 7, I was like, man, they better not get exactly 7 sacks. You want some Nostradamus type vibes over here, bro.
Let's get some.
But I've been hearing it all week, man, all week.
That's a fun.
Hey,
team
Authentic, what's your channel name? I saw someone asking in the chat.
It's just Authentic, the way I spell it there. And the Beard, and that's my boy Tim. He's a antique collector as well. So like, both my pennants came from him. He gets a bunch of like vintage football stuff as far as like clothing, hats, all that stuff. He's a card collector. He does. I don't know if y'all know about the card breaks where people are breaking the boxes live.
I just started getting into collecting basketball cards, and I watch some of those channels now. It's good stuff.
It's
There's
great
a lot
stuff.
of
I'm
money
looking for
in
ways to
those.
apply
I
it
didn't
to
know
my
that.
channel. You know what I'm saying?
Authentics, I'm definitely checking out after the show's over.
Same.
Please do,
Right up my
man.
alley,
And
my friend.
when I see
Totally.
y'all, I'll subscribe for y'all. No problem, man. If y'all got
100%.
channels and all that, man. I'm all about supporting this Giants community because I joined it just as a fan, and then I used to just wake up and YouTube Giants news, and Tainer started popping up, and I was like, oh,
That's
man, I like this guy's
that's
vibe.
exactly how I found him. I was in Afghanistan. I was deployed in Afghanistan. I was like, "What are the Giants doing?" And I couldn't watch the games, so I just went on YouTube. It was like Giants, like something. I forgot who. I think they was playing like the Panthers or something. When Graham Gano got the kick, and then he was like streaming it, and I was watching it, and then he like went crazy. He's like, "They made it," and I was like, "No!"
Yeah, Tainer, man. Tainer's got the play-by-play on lock. I remember when I first saw him do a basketball game, he was like, I'll never forget this. He was like, he dribbles, he bibbles. I was like, oh, that's my man. That's my man right there.
Not the bibble.
While we're reflecting, actually, one of the greatest moments was when me and Tana went to the Giants game. After the Giants game is over, me, Kid Blue, are sitting there talking, and there was this lady, and she goes, "Is that you?" And going to Tana, and she goes, "Oh my God, it's you!" And she broke down in tears. And I was like, wow, he's really, really touched some people. And that was just fun to see. So, you know, Tainer does a great job.
Tainer be killing that Ring My Bell, man. He got them vocals on smash, boy.
I still remember Authentic was one of the when I used to only have like 70, 80 people in my streams. When I was first starting doing the Giants games, Authentic was in them all the time, and I remember him saying, "I'm gonna start something next year because of that." And Authentic, that's why I always try to support you whenever I can. I'm just busy as hell, but you've always been a great supporter of my channel, and I think your channel deserves a lot more subscribers than what you have. I think you do a great job over there.
We're gonna get there, man, and I definitely appreciate the love. Every time you saw me in the chat, you would shout me out, talk about the podcast, and that's major for us, man. And like I said, we're just trying to pave our way in this lane. You know, these are my childhood homies I do the podcast with. I've been watching football. My homie Tim, the Beard, lives with me, and I've been watching football with him since like 1987. So we go way back. So there's that kind of brotherly kind of camaraderie on the show, and you know the arguments and all that stuff. But we just like to keep it cool, man. I don't proclaim to be the best podcast or anything like that, but I got the radio voice according to OGRs, so I'm taking them in stride. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Authentic, I'm gonna try to find you on Twitter, give you a follow on there so we can communicate some more. I retweet your stuff whenever you post it, different things.
Definitely,
like
man. I'm just the way I spell Authentic. That's all my social medias. Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook you can find me there too. I think it's my fan page. And my boy Tim, he's just at Tim Walk on Water, who also does a podcast with us too. He's hilarious. Cool. I mean, if y'all like my stuff, he's hilarious, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. Let me get to Roldy.
He's going to be talking about how many sacks we got on Sunday.
Roldy says, I'm definitely going to hit up the homie Authentic. How do I find him? I'm assuming you heard it by now, but Authentic and the Beard, just how it's pronounced, just how it's spelt, rather. Authentic and the Beard, Roldy. And Michael Sack says, how you can't have him in your top 3. I'm the GOAT. Are you talking about yourself, Mike? Michael, you're awesome, man. You're here all the time, man. I appreciate it, man. Chisolo says, I hope all y'all go off on YouTube and get big. So, man, I appreciate. Listen, man, I say it all the time. People say that to me all the time. They're like, "Oh, what's your dream? Do you want to get on ESPN?" I say, I don't know. I mean, I think YouTube's growing. I don't think YouTube's getting any smaller. I think more and more people are coming to YouTube for their sports news, and I love the freedom of not having a boss and being able to say what I feel. And you go on like ESPN, you go on Fox Sports. A lot of that is rehearsed. Who knows? Maybe YouTube blows up big enough to be a platform where people could actually, do this full time. So I don't know.
Yeah, from outside perspective, man, your channel is popping, man. Your channel's huge. And I know there are a lot of Giants fans. If they're thinking about podcasting, they're looking at you as, the prototype as far as podcasts go, and Bad Dog. And I've been getting hip to OGR. There's a few other cats in the community. I check religiously for y'all content, and it aids my content. It helps me kind of figure out where I want to go with things. I was taking your stat from the 0-2 stat for 10%. I've been using that all week on our podcast.
Yeah, that's going to go up, though, because there's 7 teams. So we have like a 15% chance, we'll say, if we lose this game. But, yeah, I appreciate that, man.
We have the Bad Dog guarantee, remember? So we're 1-1 as of right now.
Bad Dog guaranteed it, just like Jim Fossil did. So if Fossil came through, hopefully Bad Dog can as well.
Hey, if we win this week, though, can Bad Dog guarantee it every week?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Maybe he's
one.
Bad Dog's very superstitious. He said, and Michael, man, thank you so much. He says M means M&M. Oh, I didn't know what you meant by that, Michael. You didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. So he's saying, how did Authentic not have Eminem in his top 3 hip hop artists? How did you not have Eminem?
It's the albums. It's the albums for me. No true classic album from Eminem, but probably one of the most gifted lyricists ever. But I think that comes from hanging around Royce the 5'9" a lot. A little bit. Give him a little bit at least. But they're both super dope. 2 top caliber MCs. Eminem, it's just it's the music. It's the singing, stacked vocals I'm not a big fan of. And the sampling old classic rock songs, trying to make them hip hop songs. Not a big fan of that either.
There you go. There's your answer. And Ojo, you were gonna say something, Ojo, right?
No,
somebody was gonna say something. I thought it was you. Never mind. Maybe I'm hearing things.
I want to give a shout out to a Bad Dog in the chat. He's been a warrior the entire night, just putting people in their place.
We're going to be on Bad Dogs for anybody. If Bad Dog's still in here, I'm not sure if he is, but he's got the doggy logo. Scroll back up in the chat if you haven't done so. We'll be over there tomorrow. And I'm sure if you're a subscriber to my channel, you know who Bad Dog is anyway. We work together every week, but we're going to be over there tomorrow doing the Giants game, and then we'll be back here week 3. So should be a lot of fun. We're going to probably end this, we'll go to 11:30. This is a long show, but I had a lot of fun.
Me personally, I won't be able to go to 11:30, so I'm going to have to get off about 5 minutes.
Do what you got to do, OGR. Do what you got to do, my man. Yeah. We're gonna close this out. All right, we'll close out in 5 minutes. We're gonna close it out soon anyway. I'm gonna take 1 or 2 more of your questions, and then we're gonna close it out, guys. Payback Carter, another great subscriber of mine, huge Cowboy fan. Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Jones is not better than Baker right now. Interesting.
I'm not mad at that take.
It's not a horrible take. Like we were saying earlier, the guy did throw 27 touchdowns, and I'm a guy that, even though I probably do believe that I think Daniel Jones is going to be better based on some of the things that I've seen, I am a guy that believes in producing first before I anoint you to that. So I'm not going to get on you too much for that.
I think you answered it, too, when you talked about the supporting cast that Baker Mayfield has, too. Daniel Jones coming into a team that's not, we don't think, quite ready to win right away, whereas Baker Mayfield comes into that team, they're like thinking Super Bowl. I remember all that Super Bowl talk when they got Odell Beckham.
Oh, yeah, they won the Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're lacking that true number 1 receiver, I feel like.
I was kind of blown away by that press conference. I mean, I understand Odell was at that point larger than life, but to come in and have the starting quarterback, starting defensive end, and all these guys come in that one press conference, it was just weird to me.
Yeah,
I've seen high-profile guys get signed by other teams and not have the whole team basically there to.
I understand Jarvis Landry just because their history, but everybody else is just basically unnecessary to me.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see, Kingfish, man, thank you for the beers. I can't wait to drink some tomorrow. We might have a chance against the 49ers. They got injuries, Kittle, Sherman, Samuel. Not saying we will, but we might pull an upset. Steven, I don't even want to think about the 49ers right now. I'm thinking about Chicago. Let's get to 1-1, and then I'll worry about the 49ers. One game at a time. That's what the NFL is about. Not even thinking about a team could look completely different week in and week out. You don't know who's going to get hurt this week. You don't know. And I haven't heard anything, by the way. Has anybody heard anything updated on Golden Tate? I have not heard anything. Nope. Is he still questionable?
I think he's in today. I think he's in tomorrow. I think
I heard that he was in, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I saw the main Giants page say he was limited in practice.
Okay. So we'll see. It sounds like he's a game time decision.
Trade him for Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I would take Allen Robinson right now.
Crazy,
yeah.
But Allen Robinson wants $18 million a year. I don't think we want to pay $18 million a year to receiver.
We need an offensive line.
Yeah, 100. Giant Opinion Sports says OGR is a legend. There you go. You got a big fan.
Facts.
There you go.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, my man. I do.
And Chizola says, I hope Mac and Quinn are out, but I hope they heal. Yeah, just take this day off. Take a rest.
Yeah,
Take a
like I
rest.
said, I never want to prey on anyone's injuries, but I hope they take a day off on Sunday.
Yeah, it sounds like Quinn's going to be out from what I've read. Mac, I think he's going to play.
Mac, Quinn, I'll take you guys out to some deep dish pizza. We'll watch the game from there. Don't worry about it.
Is Hicks still playing?
Debo.
Is Hicks playing? Is he healthy?
He's healthy.
Hicks?
Akeem Hicks.
Yeah, I think he's playing.
He's out there.
Yeah.
Bears
Debo
only
wants-
had 1 sack week 1, so I'm looking forward to that. If Daniel could get some time, he's going to look like a pro. I'm telling
And
you.
Adrian Peterson averaged 6 yards a carry. And
Yeah.
it's not like
was about
Detroit
to
has
say
this
that.
whole world
Yeah.
offensive line.
I was just
Yeah.
about to say that.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. But we're going to close
It's
this out.
winnable.
I'm always going to let you guys have the closing statement. We're going to get to that in 1 second. I just want to say thank you to all you guys. We had pretty much over 300 people in here throughout the entire night. Thank you guys for spending your Saturday night here. Hopefully I get to have some new subscribers on next week. I'll have another new giant YouTuber. I want to give everybody a fair opportunity. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. If you guys have not checked out these two gentlemen's channels, please do so. OGR's been on YouTube for a long time now. Great guy. Met Jeff in person at the Giant game. Looking forward to hopefully meeting Authentic at a Giant game when things get back to normal again. But both of them, check out both their channels, and I'll be on Authentic's channel hopefully sometime this week. Really looking forward to that. Let me just read these 2 super chats. Steven says, I've loved this tonight. Do it more often. Great hearing different opinions for us over in the UK. We don't get as much as you guys do over there. Stephen Lilly, I'm doing this every week, the night before every game. So you're going to get different fans on every week. You're going to get different YouTubers on every week. And I want to make it a weekly thing. So you're going to. So I appreciate that, Stephen, man. Another one of my best subscribers. Been with me forever as well. UK's awesome. I got so many great UK supporters.
How awesome is that? Hearing fans from the UK.
They're phenomenal, man.
Awesome.
I got so many,
awesome.
and it's 4 a.m. there right now, by the way.
And
He's listening to the show.
what about? I'm sorry, the fan over in New Zealand as well.
He was on the show last week. He's awesome.
Yeah,
Harrison Jolly.
He's out. Yep. Harrison
Oh, yeah,
Jolly.
I
He's
saw that. I
awesome.
can't picture that.
How awesome is that, man? That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he's incredible. And Roldy says, wait, OGR said OBJ is washed up because he caught the ball with his helmet, and now he's laughing. He's coming at you again, OGR. But
Not this again.
I want to say we're gonna let OGR rebut that one last time.
Nah,
but
I don't need to rebut it.
I
don't
wanna
need to rebut
say,
it at all. I've
thank
got
you.
$65 because of that.
I want to say thank you to obviously OGR and Authentic did a great job. I also want to say thank you to all the subscribers that came on tonight. Thank you to all you guys. Nikki, I know, has been asking to come on the show for a while. Thank you for coming on. Love to have you back. You did a great job. Wish I got to talk to you more. David, everybody did a phenomenal job. Thank you to all you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. Thank you guys for continuing to watch my content.
Hey,
What were we saying, Nikki?
I got a question for Authentic.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up?
Are you a Juice fan?
Am I a?
Juice World.
Are you a Juice World fan?
I wouldn't call myself a fan, nah, but I like what Juice put out before his untimely passing for sure. You got to understand, I'm an OG, man. You know, we got OGR, but I'm a true OG. You know, I come from the golden era of hip hop. You know, I stopped listening for a while. You know, like new artists to me are like Kendrick Lamar, Mick Jenkins, J. Cole. They new batch artists for me because I come from the era of early 90s listening to like Tribe Called Quest, EPMD, Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, Pac. Let's go on and on. You know what I mean?
So big 6ix9ine fan then?
Say again?
I said so big 6ix9ine fan?
And Zolo says it's fine, OGR. Everyone has their own opinion, and I'm going to let OGR start with his closing remarks. But yeah, I mean that's what sports are about. I say it all the time, by the way, OGR. When people come on my channel, and Roldy says it too sometimes, and I think that's why he comes to my channel because he gets a different opinion. Because I don't agree with him a lot, you know. But you know, when it comes to sports, it would be boring if everything I said you agreed with. Because what are you learning then? Like when I look for content creators, I look for guys that, yeah, I want them to agree with me on certain topics, but I don't want to be lockstep with them. Then I'm not learning anything. You want to get different conflicting viewpoints as long as it's well, you know, researched and you back it up well. So that's what I always say. But that's what sports is about. That's what makes it fun to talk about. But OGR, do what you got to do, my man.
Roldy, at the end of the day, it's about entertainment, my friend. If you really think I'm that fired up, trust me, it rolls right off the shoulder, my friend. But you know what? You got to do it for entertainment. You got to show a little passion when you're on this. But a big thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody on the panel. You guys are all great, and big thanks for Entertainer bringing me on. Let's just go out and get this W. I'm just blown away by the Giants community and how strong it is, and it just continues to grow, and it's just fun to come on and just meet new people with the same passion. So either way, guys, you guys close it out.
OGR, great job tonight, man. I appreciate you coming on. Michael, thank you so much for love. He says, love the vibe tonight, guys. Have to hop on sometime. Michael, I'll pencil in right now. You're always in my streams. You always talk to me on Twitter. You want to come on next week? You can. He says, I got to come on sometime soon. Authentic is a great add to the Big Blue community. Let's grow this thing as the team grows. Exactly, Michael.
Yes, sir.
And Word says, lyrical, spiritual, individual in your swimming pool. Word says.
I like that.
Word, another great supporter of mine. Thank you for being here, buddy. And Michael Sack says, what about, I don't know who this is, Joyner Lucas. Joyner Lucas.
He fired. Joyner, great conceptual rapper. All his videos, even if you're not a fan of hip hop, I would suggest to just go to YouTube and look at Joyner Lucas's videos. He shows you a lot of the making of the videos. A lot of them are like one-take videos where like the camera crew's doing all this crazy moving and stuff like that. Dude raps really fast, really clear, has really good bars. I'm definitely a fan of Joyner Lucas for sure.
So Authentic, if you're a fan of Joyner, are you a fan of Logic?
I'll tell you something funny about Logic. One of my childhood homies, my boy Solomon, they call him the Mouth now. Logic's like the Rat Pack. Mm-hmm. He was Logic's mentor. So when they was recording the first album for Logic, I went to Cali and I was there when they were recording extra instruments for Logic's album. Common walked through and Jen Aiko walked through that joint. We were a little bit starstruck. Wow. Common walked out the car like he was in a movie, skin just popping. We like, dang, like this is crazy. But I get down with Logic, man. I'm a little blown to hear about the retirement from him so early, and I feel like a lot of that happened from pressure from what was happening in the community of hip hop. Kind of goes back to what OGR said, like this is entertainment, man. Like you let that just brush right off you. And I think critics' opinions and things like that was bothering Logic and started making him look at himself a certain way to kind of like take a step back from hip hop. But I definitely like Logic's albums. He puts out good music, always selects dope beats. Definitely a fan of Logic. The whole black and white thing, he got to stop rapping about that. We stopped rapping, period. But he should have stopped rapping about that. It was getting a little watered down, rapping about the same thing over and over and over and over and over. But definitely a skilled lyricist, big fan of him for sure.
And Authentic, Roldy just said, Authentic, I'm from the same area too, dog. We stick into underground, the crossover. Logic is the one of the new artists that I mess with too.
Yeah, and I'm cut from that same cloth, man. I'm underground. Like I used to despise commercial rap music coming up as a kid. I was all on like Def Jux and LP and all these underground rappers, Raucous Records movement, Kweli, Most Def, Cannabis, just underground lyricists was what I was a fan of. And as an adult now, I've learned to appreciate other styles of music that aren't necessarily what I'm cooking up in my studio.
Awesome. David, I'm going to get to you next, my man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Say what you got to say.
I want to give a shout out to my city. I know we're accustomed to losing always, and tomorrow isn't going to be any different. So go G-Men, and I hope everyone else is crying tomorrow.
David, of course, is from Chicago, in case you guys didn't know. So hopefully everybody in your city but you is upset tomorrow, because I'm sure there's not a lot of Giant fans. Thank you for coming on, David. Joe, you next, my man.
Hey, first of all, I just want to give props to Dave and Authentic, who live in Chicago and DC, respective. It's not easy necessarily, given being a fan of a team in a different city. But, first of all, I just want to say, I'm almost 50 years old, so my favorite rap band of all time is NWA. I think they were actually the best of all time. Fantastic. And the movie is awesome, too. Phenomenal. And going back to a few minutes ago, Chris, there was a thing about Daniel Jones and Baker Mayfield. I'm not a Baker Mayfield hater or anything, but Daniel Jones Baker Mayfield was given a team that was ready to roll. Yeah. Daniel Jones wasn't. So, and I'm not crapping on Mayfield. I think he's got a lot of ability, and I loved him coming out of Oklahoma. I'm an Oklahoma fan, just like Bad Dog. And I'm a huge fan of this too. And but Daniel Jones had a lot less to work with. You look at last year with all the receivers being out. I'm a huge Tate fan, but He was out for numerous reasons. Sterling Shepard out for numerous reasons. Engram out. Barkley out. And that's another thing about Barkley, too. I think Barkley, the leader that he is that he came back. He should have been out 6 weeks. He came back after 2 or 3 weeks, I think, to help his rookie quarterback out, which hurt his numbers. But I think Barkley came out intentionally to help out his rookie quarterback. And I think the two of them, we've got great 10 years ahead of us. I really do. And I totally believe in Daniel Jones. I think he puts the effort in. And I'm a huge believer. And I think that saga, that's a story that's waiting to be told with Daniel Jones. Everything being, taken from, Duke and number 6 and the fans booing him. And, that's a great story waiting to be told. And that's the reason why I'm here today. So I started following you, Chris, was that I was like, no. The funny thing is, and you and Bad Dog were hilarious, but that draft night, I was like, I wasn't a hater, but I'm like, I went to Josh Allen so badly. And I just wanted a defensive playmaker. And I Googled, I'm like, I'm looking for people outside of, BSPN, who Giants fans who could give something positive on Daniel Jones. I came across Fist Vegas first.
Right.
And he's like, the anointed one. I'm on
the Peyton Manning video.
Totally. And I'm looking around. And the funniest thing is, watching you and the all-time haters video on Daniel Jones. It's like, that scrum that's put together. It's hilarious. And it opens up, I think, with you first. You're like, holy cow, whoa, Josh Allen, I want Josh Allen. And then it switches to Bad Dog a few minutes later, and you hear Bad Dog. He's going off, bouncing off the walls. And you hear Chris in the background, that tinny voice, from a laptop. Holy cow! What are you talking about? How can you not take Josh Allen? Are you kidding me? And we're all feeling it. But that's how I come across. I'm like, all right, I got to Google entertainment and Bad Dog, and that's how I came across you guys.
That's awesome.
Different opinions, but it was hilarious. It was awesome. I love it.
Listen, man. New York fans are passionate, and
dude, I went to Josh Allen. No hate against Daniel Jones, but I went to Josh Allen. Period. And now. I haven't gotten yet, but I've been saying it for 6 months. I got to get myself a DJ jersey because I'm all
same.
That's a story waiting to be told. I
don't even have a Giants jersey for some reason, so I need one.
What you brought up about comparing Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones, and I know Authentic loves Eli just as much as I do. I'm a huge Eli fan, but I think it's the same. Argument that you can make, and I love Eli, but let's be fair. Eli came in with a similar situation what Baker did. He came in with a pretty much an established offensive line or an establishing offensive line. He had pretty much a ready-made defense. They got Plaxico Burress in his second year. Dan Jones doesn't have that. That's why I say, as Giants fans, we've got to be patient. We've got to give this guy a fair opportunity. I hate when I hear fans talking about Trevor Lawrence and talking about can't do that. And the other thing I'll say is this: with the pressure from the New York fans, if Eli Manning. And I love Eli, my favorite Giant of all time. Eli Manning was not that advanced at this point in his career.
Nope.
With a better supporting cast. If Eli Manning was on this team right now, we don't see those Super Bowls because the fan base gets him out of here. Because this team wouldn't have been good enough to support him in his earlier career. Eli Manning survived because he had a great team around him, and we won 11 games anyway. So people were like, okay, we'll put up with it. But people have to be patient. They have to let this team build the proper pieces around them to get this team to where they need to be. That's all I'm going to say about Daniel Jones. So,
hey, fellow Giants fans, Eli Manning was parachuted into a really good Giants team. And the veterans at that time, like Strahan, and it was nothing against Eli. They didn't want a quarterback at that time because they believed in Kerry Collins. Understandably, I was a huge Collins fan, and I didn't want Eli at the time. I actually went to Robert Gallery, who was
Robert Gallery, second overall to the Raiders.
Yeah, and he was a burnout. But the fact is that the Giants had a team at that time that was, if not ready to win, they were damn competitive. They had Shockey, they had Burris, they had Toomer, they had Barber, they had Strahan. I don't know if they still had Armstead, but they had a good defense.
Did we have Burris that early?
Second year.
Second year for Eli.
Second year for Eli.
Dang, I thought that was longer.
So, and everyone's talking Barber was a complete running back at that time, but he was also in his 7th or 8th year. Barkley is, give Barkley and Jones. These are the two leaders going ahead. Give them a chance. They're young, and they haven't been parachuted into a team that's ready to win. But give them some time. These are all caliber character players who are leaders, who take their job seriously. Give them some time. These aren't, guys who are just getting stoned or whatever, or just playing video games. They take their job seriously. Give them some time. We're lucky.
I-
We're lucky. We're very lucky.
I agree. Great job. Thank you for coming on, my man. Army Giants fan. Let's go, my man.
I just want to give a shout out to the panel. You guys are super awesome. Chris, I appreciate you for having me. Like I said, I've been watching you since I was halfway across the world. So I really appreciate you having me on. Authentic, I'm definitely going to subscribe to you on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Also want to give a shout out to the wife for letting me use her laptop so I can continue being on this. Shout out to her. I'm trying to make her into a Giants fan, but she's not really into football, but it'll happen.
It'll happen.
You'll convert her, bro. You'll convert her.
Watch.
Oh yeah.
First, thank you for your service. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for your service.
and thank you for being a great subscriber on the channel, man. It was a thrill to have you on.
Appreciate
Nikki, man, go ahead, my man.
I'll say thanks so much for having me on. I've been waiting for a long time. I'm really excited for tomorrow's game. Hopefully we get the W. Saquon's got to have a big day. He really does. And I hope Darius Slayton has a big day because I have both of them in fantasy. So we'll see how it goes.
I felt 2 touchdowns by both of them, so hopefully.
I think Barkley's gonna have a good game tomorrow. I really do. I think he bounces back, and I think he's gonna have a good game. But yeah, Nikki, I know you've been asking me. I think since pretty much the start of the offseason. So I was glad to get you on, and I'd love to have you back on. You did a great job tonight, and thank you for being a great subscriber. I really do appreciate it.
Oh.
And let me just read Travis' super chat real quick. Travis says, big W coming tomorrow. Then we're going to beat the 49ers. Watch out, Cowboys, Eagles. We'll see, my man. We'll see, my man. One game at a time. One game at a time, but I love the optimism. Let's get a win tomorrow.
Oh, Chris, I got one more thing I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
The 49ers don't go home between now and when they play us because they play the Jets and then they play us. So
that's a great point.
And there was no Kittle. And
But
D4.
But the Bills did that last year and we still lost. So.
Hope they will.
Good point.
Pulled that quick.
You're right. The Bills still kicked our ass, and then they kicked the Jets. Actually, they played the Jets for
Bills are good.
Yeah, the Bills are very good. Good. But so are the 49ers. Well, Authentic, man, thank you again so much for coming on. And if anybody if anybody has not subscribed to Authentic, you did a great job tonight. Go over there, check them out. But go ahead, my man.
Appreciate it, bro, man. This is very long overdue. Wanted to collab with you last year, but we were doing a lot of our shows post-edit, so we were filming them, and then I was having to edit them the next day, and we were doing mad camera switching. It would take me like 6 hours to edit. This year we're live, so it's going to be a lot easier to bring you on, and I'm already feeling a little comfortable with some camaraderie talking with you and the rest of the panel today, man. I really appreciate it. We got some good takes from everybody from different angles, which was really cool. I feel like Army Giants fan and David gave us a good, Hog Molly perspective, from the trenches. And the rest of us, Nikki was definitely giving us that special player kind of vibe. And the rest of us, covering the defensive backs and things like that. So I thought everybody came from good angles.
That's where it starts. Always.
Yeah, it was a solid starting team right here that we had today. And if it continues, man, and the Giants can come out with a win, like I said, all y'all are invited to come on our channel this week. We're going to be on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday. So pick a day, man. I'll have y'all on. And even if we lose, y'all can still pull up. I saw the chat was super popping today. And, man, it was just a blessing to be on your channel, man. I've listened to you for, over 100 streams, it seems like. I wish they had a camera on me when we were losing some of these games by a field goal a couple years ago, man. But I was going crazy in my living room yelling with you and with Bad Dog, man. I just appreciate what you guys do for the Giants community. And super shout out to Bad Dog too, man. I peeked in on his 24-hour live the other day, and I was just like, 24-hour live, bro. This is so gangster, man. It was like 3 a.m. He was already about 15 to 20 hours in, trying to hack it out, man. So I'm appreciative for you guys. I'm very grateful for what you guys have brought to the Giants community, because it almost allowed me to figure out my voice within sports, and knowing that I didn't have to be like some, garbage analyst like what you see on. I won't even name those channels. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, man, again, man, thank you for having us, man. And tune in to us if you can. If y'all want to support us, we're Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. It's Authentic in the Beard. And I'm dropping a new album if you want to support that, too. This whole community, I just love the vibes we see in the chat. It's nothing but positive love. I saw one dude hating in here today. I need my wrench back, because I need to kick about
you'll get it back tomorrow. And I remember when you were, and I didn't just take away your wrench. I took away everybody's wrench so I just started from scratch because everybody was like blocking everybody. So I'm like, screw this.
Oh, I peeked. Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? I remember one time, Authentic, I think you told me, you're like, I can't make the stream tomorrow because I'm going to be at a wedding. And you told me you were listening to my play-by-play while you were at the wedding. I remember.
With these exact headphones, I was shooting the wedding too, bro. Like, I was taking photos and doing video. And, like, I swear to God on my life, it was an outdoor wedding, and they were, like, walking up to go exchange the vows. And I was just like, I had you right in my ear listening to the game, dog. Like,
Chris, I think you deserve a free entertainer mug at least.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Authentic. All you guys are great.
Authentic. What's your YouTube name or channel?
The YouTube channel is just Authentic, the way I spell it, and the beard, like a big beard, because my co-host Tim Stewart
and the beard, Authentic,
and the beard.
Okay,
and he's hilarious, and Tim has a little bit better of a perspective on like statistics and things like that. Like, he's very involved in fantasy football. So I put him more in the lane of like what Entertainer does, where he really knows his numbers. He really knows the game real well. Yeah. And me, I'm all about the eye test.
Yeah, that's good. That's
hand in hand, man.
That's a good mix. Yeah. And Roldy, man, thank you again, man. Roldy, man, thank you for all your incredible generosity tonight, man. I can't say it enough. He says, as always, shout out to you, Chris. You always bring something new and fresh to your channel. I love it. I appreciate you. Everyone in here, give Chris a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause, guys. Everybody.
I am awesome.
I always say I want you guys to feel like it's just as much your channel as it is mine. So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I'm going to be live on Bad Dog's channel tomorrow. And if the Giants win, maybe we'll come back here live tomorrow night and have a party. Who knows? But I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming on the panel. I want to say thank you to everybody that watched the stream the whole time. I had a fantastic time. I love doing this, getting to talk with my subscribers, getting to talk with some Giants content creators. So I'll do this more. May even have you guys on tomorrow. If the Giants win and I feel like being happy, having some subscribers on, maybe I'll do it again tomorrow. But awesome. You guys did a fantastic job. You guys were phenomenal tonight. Thank you guys for being doing what you do for my channel, just being great Giants fans, because that's what it's all about. But guys, let's get a win tomorrow. Let's get to 1-1. Let's beat the Chicago Bears. And everybody, have a great night. Thank you to everybody for being here. Have a great night, guys. Have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Peace.
See you guys. Thanks for your service.